That's probably a good leeway into the start of this thing. So this is a first for me.
Yep.
In the sense that I don't know what's about to happen
today.
Yeah. So I got a call from a friend a few weeks ago. You mentioned him before. Mm-hmm. And all he said was, you've got to hear his story.
Yeah.
And I said, well, don't tell me what it is. I want to stay shocked.
Yeah.
And you even said that. Mm-hmm. You want that raw, authentic, you know.
Yeah, I think
so
that, yeah.
I'm happy to give you the mic, mate. Yeah, I spoke to your mum this morning as well, and she said there's a lot of things that have sort of happened in your life, but there's the main thing that you want to speak about today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty,
Yeah, and everything else leading up to it, it made this a lot easier to deal with, you know, from an outside perspective, even telling the story, and even people that are around me that don't know everything or haven't been through that and this, you know, it's like they were all like super. I mean, it was worrying and concerning, but at the same time, I was like, I'm good. I got this because of everything else. It's made it a little bit easier to deal with, you know. But yeah, so
where does it start?
The story. So I guess it starts. We can go back to the very start.
Yeah.
So it starts with leading up to Christmas.
24.
Last year. Christmas last year. So this happened this year, January this year. So leading up to Christmas last year, I had a few mates that were going to Bali. So
pull the mic back.
Sorry, bro.
No, you can just pull it back.
So yeah, I had a few mates that were going to Bali, and last minute I was like, fuck, I'll book some flights, I'll come with you, you know? And then I completely forgot that one of my best mates and his missus were coming to Melbourne for Christmas. To come see me. So I booked these flights, and then the next day I realised, like, Amy had hit me up and was like hell keen to see us, you know, and I was like, fuck, I just booked these flights. I didn't realise, you know, so I was like, these guys I know from over here, but this is one of my brothers, you know, so I was like, oh, no way I'm going. I was like, I just got to either cancel my flights, move them, whatever. So I called up to move the flights, and I was like, can I just change the date? I didn't want to have to just cancel them, lose some money, you know, and the dude's like, you can move. You can change the destination, whatever you want. So I was like, oh, sweet. I was like, oh, it's my birthday on January 17th. I was like, let's go back to Thailand, you know. I went there last year in 2023 with one of my best mates, and it was the best. So I was like, just go back 5 days to clear the head, you know. Like after my ex had bounced on me, bro, I was in a bit of a way. So I thought, you know what, just go over, freshen up, you know, get my head right. You know, sit on the beach, drink a few pina coladas and smoke copious amounts of weed and just relax, you know. And yeah, so I ended up moving the flights to January 17th to my birthday. And yeah, I flew in, I landed, and I was like, all right, I got 5 days. I knew exactly where I wanted to go because of the last time I went there with my mate, you know, and I was like, I need to get to this beach club. I need to get this, like all before like the end of my birthday, you know. So get in this taxi, boot it to Phuket. And previous to this, I was like, after me and the ex broke up, I was in a bit of a way, and being a tattoo artist, I have to keep my hands steady, you know. So I was smashing the Valium a little bit too much because I was trying to just keep myself calm, keep my hands calm, but also was just in a bit of a way. So I was saying to everyone that this 5-day trip in Thailand is just going to be a little bit of a detox that I need, you know. So when I just got to Patong, and first thing I did was stop at this pharmacy and bought a strip of Valium. Just kind of not really thinking, didn't really pay much attention to it. Grabbed them, thought, yeah, whatever, here, have a good time, relax, you know. Popped 2 of them, went to this beach club, had a few beers, had some dinner. And then I was like, oh man, you know, I was like, maybe I'll just go kick it, you know. I was like, I'm happy now I'm here, this and that. I don't really want to go out and send it, this and that. And as I was about to like leave, my mate calls me with some pretty hectic news, and he just wanted to let me know because I was one that was always there for him, supported him through this certain situation. And then he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh man, you know, I'm probably just gonna. He's like, nah. He's like, it's your birthday, bro. He's like, instead of going out like on the main strip where it's all mental, you know. And he's like, go to these little quiet bars around the corner, you know, this and that. And I was like, all right, sweet as. So I end up going out to these bars, you know, having shots, playing, get little dice games with the bar staff as you do. Probably, I can't remember what time it was. Maybe it would have been like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
When did you land?
I landed at 8 p.m. On the 17th of January.
So you've been going for a few hours?
Yeah. So, yeah, a few hours. So then I was staying in Caron Beach. So I was at the Mandarava, like a beautiful resort up on the hill, probably 15 minutes or so outside of Patong. A little bit more inland, or you sort of go through a bit of the hilly areas and that, and you come back out to more up Caron Beach. But yeah, a little bit less populated, but really nice resorts and stuff like that. Anyway, so there was a festival on this weekend, the weekend that I decided to go, which I had no idea about, right? So there was a massive police presence, getting tourists with drugs or with drinking and riding and all this sort of shit, because there was heaps of tourists there, you know? So it was their opportunity to get out and make some money. So me, innocent, not even knowing about this festival that's going on, just going there to just clear my head. I'm in this little tuk-tuk thing on the way back to Caron. Between Caron and Patong, there was a police checkpoint. I've gone through this police checkpoint like pretty pissed. All of a sudden they get me out, they grab me, go through my bag, 8 Valium. You can't have this. And I'm like, I fucking bought it at the pharmacy, bro. Like, I'm not like buying shit off the street, you know? Anyway, boom, handcuffs. And I'm like, fuck, pretty pissed, but just like, fuck, kind of having a bit of a laugh about it, thinking, you know, this isn't going to be too serious. Get back to the police station, and there was people everywhere. There was like police everywhere, the police chief, there was other people, and I was like, I can't pay anyone off here. This is like, there's too much going on. So I'm like, you know, pretty pissed and kind of not really in it anyway, you know, but at the same time enough to realize like, fuck, this is happening. Anyway, so yeah, got locked up in Thailand. I woke up Saturday morning, just like on my side, just like looked up and looked around, and I was like, holy shit, like I'm in this like 2x2 cell, like hardwood floors, one little like opening at the back where the toilet is, which is hardly a toilet. It's like a ceramic bowl on the floor, which you pour buckets of water in to wash it through. The tap was broken, so this thing fucking stunk, man. So I wake up sweaty, like fresh off the night, like, fuck, man, what is going on? Like, this can't be actually happening, you know? So I'm like, fuck, I'm standing at this gate, so like shouting to trying to like get the attention of someone, like, man, like, what is going on? And they're like, nah, they're like, you're here, through their phone, like translator through their phone. No, you're here for narcotics. You can't bail out. You can't pay your way out. You can't pay for bail. You have to stay here until Monday morning, till court opens, and go to court. Like, you're already through the system. And I was like, man, like, come on. Like, we all know the system there is like, you know, you can bend and twist those laws, bro. Yeah, those rules, man. Like, here's a bit of money, this and that. And I kind of like got a bit desperate and started like, man, I can't. They're like, you're going to be here. You're going to go on bail for, 2 weeks and this and that. They're like telling me all this shit. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I got a business, I run Oculus Tattoo. I got to be back there for that. Like, I can't stay. I'm like, I didn't even really have the time or the money to come here for 5 days, let alone being stuck here for any longer, And they're like, nah, like nothing we could do, nothing I could do. So I'm just like, man, what do I do now? So I'm just sitting just in this cell, bro. And for most of Saturday, I was in there by myself. It was like at the back of a police station, it was like a room, and then there was like the like jail bars here, like a big gate here. Then there was like a walkway with like 2 big cells here and 1 little cell at the end, which is the one I was in. And I'm just like, all right, just like trying to calm myself down.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, man, like, happy birthday, you fucking moron, Like, I'm thinking, bro, like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, this can't be happening. And I'm like looking out there, and I'm like, man, there's little gaps at the top with bars and a bit of mesh to try to stop the mozzies, which there was a hole in the mesh, so the mozzies got through and absolutely mauled me overnight, all 3 nights. But I'm like, man, what if there's a tsunami, And I'm like, they're not going to bust through that door, I open this gate, and then open this gate to get me out. I was like, they're all going to leg it, you know, and I'm stuck in here. If the, you know, I'm like, stop thinking like that. I was like, calm yourself down, you know, and I'm like, just, I don't know. It was insane. And I'm like, just lay down, just relax, try to go back to sleep, you know. And I had my button-up t-shirt on, some shorts. I had my socks and my jocks, and that's it. So I'm like, all right. I took my socks off, folded my socks up, and I was just like put it on the back of my skull, and I was just like laying there, and I was just like, all right, just calm down, you know. It's only 3 days, like you got this, you know. Just relax, and then I'm just like, all I can smell is this fucking toilet there, you know. I'm like the piss and this and that, and I'm like, woke up and I'm like, of course I need to take a shit now, you know. So I'm like, man, standing at the gate, standing at the bars, and I'm like shouting out to anyone that can hear me, or, you know, thinking I need some toilet paper, I need to go to the toilet, and I'm like, man, what am I thinking? Like, I'm in Thailand, in fucking the back, like at the bottom of this like mountain in Karon police station, which is like inland, you know, like thinking, what the fuck? Like, all you can hear is just birds. It was just so quiet, and like, man, it's just like, what is even fucking happening right now, you know? And yeah, so obviously no one came, so I've ended up having to, you know, use the toilet. And then I'm like, what do I do? Like, the water tap's broken, this and that, and I'm like looking, and I'm like my socks. I'm using my socks as a pillow currently, so I'm like, all I got is my jocks, you know. So I have to like use my jocks and that, and then it was like couldn't flush it because obviously the tap was broken. The lever on the tap, so I'm just in there just like, man, this is the first day, and I'm already feeling like the grossest I've ever felt in my life, you know, like this is absolutely insane. And then, yeah, people were kind of coming in and out, like things are going on. I'm just kind of sitting back, just observing and just thinking, what the fuck, man? Like, how, of course I get myself into this position, you know, like just supposed to be, I'm not even supposed to be here, you know, like Captain Hindsight, man, like fuck, and it was just killing me. So the first day I kind of was in a bit of a depressed way, you know, so I wasn't really doing much to like help myself or help my mindset at the time. It was just kind of absorbing it and accepting that this is reality, this is actually happening. And then nighttime comes around and they bring some food. It was just like because it was a holding cell at the police station. It wasn't like the jail yet, so it was no canteen or food there or anything. So yeah, they bring some food around. It was like a square foam container with like rice and chicken in a plastic bag, and I was like, I'm used to going to Bali. Like growing up in Perth, we've been to Bali like 10 times, you know. So you'd always like, don't eat the street food there, you get sick. So that was in my head, and I'm like, I'm not eating this fucking shit. I don't want to have to like lean over that hole in the ground or have to use that toilet again, you know. So I'm like, smells all right. Tied the bag up, used it as a pillow, you know. I was like, this is mad. So all of a sudden I had this like comfy pillow for the back of my head, and I was like, sick. So I'm like, starting to look after myself a bit more in there, you know. One of the guards went and bought me like bottles of water and stuff, so I had water, and it was so sweaty in there, man. So like, I've started to use the bottles to put like between my knees, so my legs weren't sweating, you know, like under my arm, because like all the points of contact that were against the floor, like the sides of your knee, the bones, your ankle bones, all that stuff on hardwood floor, man, like. I'm glad it was only three nights in that one, because I don't think I could have slept on that floor any longer, you know, but it was insane. So now I've got a pillow, you know, feeling all right.
Yeah, if you're going back, yeah.
All right. Now I've got the pillow, feeling all right. And then, yeah, like next day rolls through. Obviously there was no like time or clock in there, but my phone was in a locker just through the second load of gates. So I have an alarm that goes off at 8 p.m. every day just to let me know to get up and train. So every time that went off, I'm like, all right, I know it's 8 p.m., you know, like just to give me a bit of sense of like what the fuck time it is, what the fuck's going on. Anyway, next day rolls around, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, that's one day down, you know, like I go to sleep tonight and I wake up, it's Monday. I'm like, all right, I got this, you know, like started doing my, like, because I snapped my ankle a few years ago, so I started sitting there doing my ankle physio, you know, start doing some push-ups, start doing some squats, you know, just like, all right, I'm in And COVID taught me this, bro. It was like, they can take all of this shit, but there's one thing that they can't take, you know, and that's my health and fitness away from me, you know. So it's like in somewhere that's like an environment you have no control over, and it was super important to find that one thing I did have control over, and that was what I was doing to get myself through it, you know. So yeah, just snapped out of it, realized that I'm in this, and there's nothing I can do about it now. So just started working, just started killing time, just, you know, whatever you can do. Until some other lads came in through Saturday night. It was there was most people were coming in for like drink riding on the scooters and stuff. So a lot of them were just coming in, paying their 30,000 baht and bailing out. But there was a few that kind of popped off that were like, nah, you're staying here, you're coming to court, you know. They kind of put them through it a little bit more. And it was crazy, man. I'm just sitting there like watching all this shit happen. And one of the Turkish lads that came in, he was there training Muay Thai, and he was just going off, like full abusing these guards and all this sort of shit, man. And like one of the guards comes in like, you'll be in here tonight, like showing a picture of him and his missus on his phone. He's like, I'm going to sleep with her tonight. You sleep in here, like full rubbing it into everyone, you know. And I'm like, man, these cunts are fucking cooked, bro. And once they realized, they saw me at the end, you know, and they're like, fuck, how long have you been here, you know? And I'm like, man, since Friday. Like, how are you so calm? And I'm like, well, what's getting mad gonna do, bro? You know, like I'm here now. You know, I'm only going to be putting myself through it even more if I'm sitting here getting pissed off and angry about it. You know, it's like I'm in the system now. You just got to go through it and just play their game, really. You know, so Sunday comes around and we're just sort of chilling. Like one of the lads came in, his missus came in, brought some food and stuff. So we're kind of like sharing a bit of food, sliding it down the hallway, you know, like catching it on the bars. I actually had one time, because I had one of the guards go buy me a bunch of stuff from 7-Eleven, just like little bread kind of things in packets, you know, stuff that just lasted. I could just pick out whenever. And one of the lad comes in and he's got a few like bananas and stuff like that. And he's like, you want a banana, bro? I was like, yeah, of course, man. So he's like hanging out at the bar like this, and he's like throwing it to me, bro, and I've like, it's hit my hand and landed and rolled away from the bars, you know, and everyone's watching. They're like, oh, you know. So I'm like, all right, what can I do here? What can I do? And I had the plastic bag with the bread stuff in it, tied that up, and I get between the bars and I'm like, and I've hooked it, bro, and I've like pulled back, and the banana started rolling back, and I've grabbed it, and everyone's like, yeah, he's a survivor, you know. He's like, yeah, boy, it's like this and that. So it's pretty funny, man. Like trying to make the best of a shitty situation. Actually, like still in contact with a lot of the lads, you know, because you're all in this shit situation together. So you kind of like instantly develop like a bit of a bond straight away. But yeah, it was crazy, man. This on Sunday night, late Sunday night, this like Chinese American lad came in, Chinese Canadian lad came in. And he had this fucking hectic story, man. He was like, his mates had brought over some shit for the festival, like little baggies of fucking mushies and fucking gear, whatever, you know. And they all got caught, like this and that. And he was like, his whole story was fucking insane. I was like, man, making me feel a little bit better, you know. Anyway, went back to sleep. The next day, bro, this dude's like coming down hard, and we're like, I'm just waiting to go to court to get out of this cell. Hanging for it, absolutely hanging for it. Anyway, the guard finally comes around. There's the Georgian lad, the Turkish lad, and then there's me, and then there's the Chinese Canadian lad. This guard comes in, pulls his Glock out, cocks it, puts it back in, like ready to fucking pop us if anyone moves out of line, you know. And I'm like, fuck, these guns are heavy. Anyway, these two lads get handcuffed together, and then they handcuff me to this Chinese Canadian lad, he's fucking coming down hard, bro, like proper cooked, you know. Tattoos as well, you know. And I'm like going to court with this kind of like handcuffed to this lad. I was like, it's not making me look good, you know. If they're looking at him and thinking that we're together and all this shit, I was like, man, all I want to do is like get away from this dude, you know. Anyway, we're in the truck. We get out, walked out of the police station. We get put in this truck, and I'm like, I had a bunch of joints that I bought before this all happened, and they were still in my bum bag. And I was like, boys, let's spark up one of these, you know, in the back of the truck on the way to court. And I was like, just try to calm us down, you know, this and that. So me and the Turkish lad shared this joint while this other lad's fucking cooking it, you know. And we get to court, and it was like just a bit of the giggles, you know. And I was like, all right, just calm down, lads. Still kind of like thinking it's just going to be a bit of a fine and fucking go home, you know. Everyone just calm down. Anyway, we go in. We get put in this holding cell, massive holding cell in court for ages. All day we were in this massive holding cell. Heaps of other guys in there. Everyone going through, doing their thing. The dude that drove the truck, the cop, he actually gave me my passport back before I went into the holding cell. So I'm like, he kind of slipped it to me, but he didn't slip the other dudes that I was handcuffed, didn't slip him his passport. And I knew that's because he was going straight to big jail there, you know. And
do you reckon he knew that?
He did once he realised that I got my passport.
Okay.
Because once he realised I had my passport, he's like, wait, you got your passport? And he's like, where's my passport? And I like full started freaking out. Yeah. Like full jitter and like real skinny little lad and that. Yeah. And I was like, man, I don't know. I felt sorry for him, but at the same time I was like, you know, each to their own sort of thing, you know. It's like, I feel for you, but at the same time, man, I'm just more than happy to get out of here. And I mean, going back, sorry, there's so much that happened. So like sifting through these memories, bro.
Yeah.
When I was still in the holding cell, I could make like a phone call a day, you know. But if I had to like beg the fucking guards, and anyway, I was able to call my parents. When I first got in there, I called them. I tried to call my mates, but they didn't answer because I didn't want to scare my parents, you know. Yeah. And I thought if it's just going to be a couple day thing, I'll just, you know, call the boys and fucking sort it out. And anyway, I couldn't get a hold of them, so yeah, I called my parents, and then they took the phone, and it was just like, oh, I'm in locked up, bang, and it was like, fuck, like, and then I didn't know what the fuck was going on for like 24 hours until I could call them back again, you know. So when I could finally call my parents again, Dad was like, Mum's coming over, she's on a flight now. She's coming to Thailand to bail you out, sort of thing, you know. And I was like, fucking what a legend. Mm-hmm. Of course she is. I was expecting nothing less, you know. My parents, they're the best. And I was like, all right. And then I think did I speak to Mum or did I speak to Dad? I can't remember, but I knew she was coming over at around 10, 11 p.m. She was going to get there, you know.
Did she know where you were?
She knew where I was, yeah. Because I was able to call them and say, yeah, Caron PlayStation. So that night I'm waiting. I hear my phone go off. So I'm like, all right, it's 8 p.m. I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting up and I'm waiting. And I'm like, man, it's got to be about 10 or 11 p.m. by now, surely. So I'm waiting. I'm hearing, if I hear anything, any noise I can hear, I'm like, is that Mum, you know? And then I fall asleep and I woke up and it must have been 3 or 4 a.m. and Mum still wasn't there. And I'm like, fuck, man, like what has happened? Like has something happened to my mum now because she's come over here by herself to help me out? I'm sitting in this cell like, fuck, what have you done, sort of thing, you know? Like, all right, just calm down. So I end up going back to sleep. Woke up in the morning, still wasn't there. And I'm like, fuck this. Like I called for like to get someone's attention. Someone finally comes in. Oh, your mum came. It's all good, you know? All right, sweet. Can relax. So she gets there at around 10, I guess. And yeah, just sort of see her I was in the cell, there's the hallway, there's the gate, the bar's there, you know, and they just let her through there. So it's just like this distance, like, you know, like, I'm trying, I'm doing my best, you know. And I had this hotel booked. So I was like, take my phone, this and that, go book go tell them that, you know, you're going to take this room for me, sort of thing, because it's a super nice room, you know. So I was like, go spoil yourself here, and I'll see you on Monday when I can get out, you know. And then they're like, I was like, here, take my phone, because I had the booking on my phone. So then as she leaves, they're like, the guards are like, do you have a prescription for the Valium? And I was like, you know what? I was like, I got a photo on my phone with my name on a Valium packet, you know? So then I'm like, fuck, I just gave my mum my phone. So I'm like, what do I do? So I get the guard and I'm like, can I please use your phone? And I'm just like, I'm so grateful that my dad hadn't changed his number since I was a kid because I memorized that shit. I got a good memory with numbers and stuff like that. So I'm like, Dad answers, thank fuck. You know, I'm like, can you call mum and tell her to come back with my phone so I can get this picture off? Because I thought if I can prove that I got a prescription, they're going to let me just pay and go, you know? So I'm like, sweet, this is my way out. And then I was like, and now my mum's here, you know? So I was like, I get out. I got a week's holiday with my mum. I was like, how dope's this going to be, you know? How special is this? Just one-on-one. Got a great relationship with both, great individual relationship with both my parents, you know? So it was dope. Comes back, show them this. Didn't make a difference anyway. So then, fast forward, go to the court in the back of this police truck.
So your mum tried to get the phone too?
She come back. She got the phone. I showed them the photo and
didn't do anything. Okay.
Didn't do anything. Okay. So she ended up going and getting the room though. Real nice room at this joint.
Yeah.
And then I'm just trying to think of anything more that happened in that first cell. Anyway, probably come to me. But so court. I'm like, all right. And there's this like interpreter, like lawyer there. And we were in contact with a lady, our contact, I'll call her my contact. She was a friend of a friend she's Thai and she used to be a police officer in Phuket. So she was kind of like wording up my parents and like helping us out and just giving us a little bit of info on what to do and what not to do and who to talk, rah. So she was like, don't trust anyone there, you know, like don't trust this duty lawyer, this interpreter, don't trust anyone. Like just get out, whatever, and then give us a call and we'll go over like everything, what we can do and how we can help you out sort of thing. So this lawyer is saying, oh, you know, like it's going to be 48 days minimum, 4 remands of 12 days bail, you know, so 12 days bail, go back, another 12 days bail, go back, rah. And so I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm like, bullshit, you know, like we'll be able to get out of this better, we'll be able to get out of this, you know, she's going to make a deal, rah. So I go through the court, get bail, leave, I see my mum there, pay the little bail, whatever it was, I can't remember, I think it was like 30,000 baht, which I can't even remember what that works out to be about now.
Trying to think, I've been there a few times. It escapes me.
Yeah, I think, fuck, what was it?
Isn't it like 100 like 4 or something?
I can't remember.
1,004 or something? $4
I can't remember now.
Doesn't matter.
No,
yeah.
Anyway.
Here we go, I'll Google it.
Yeah.
yeah, here we go.
Jamie, pull that up.
30,000 baht. I normally have my iPad, so it's about 1,500 Australian.
Yeah. Yeah, so paid that, got out. And it was dope. Like, just me and mum, you know, went home. Fucking the shower was so satisfying. Went out for dinner.
What are you thinking mum out for dinner during that time?
When I was just got on bail? Well, I'm just thinking I'm fucking happy to be out of there, man. You know, I'm just like, that was the most like disgusting I've ever felt in my life. And I'm just like, I just want to fucking eat a fucking steak. I want to fucking have a shower, you know, have a beer and just relax and just be like, man, you know. So, and I'm thinking, I kind of wasn't really thinking much. I was just happy to be out at first, you know. It wasn't until waking up the next day when I was like, all right, this is real and this is not over, far from over yet. They've still got my passports. I haven't, you know, they're not yet making a deal, you know. So I'm like, this is very far from over. So each day we're in contact with our contact, and she's starting to say, you know, like, with a proper prescription, and then get one sent to Thailand, get one translated into Thai and all this, like with a proper prescription, then that they will make a deal with you and all this sort of shit, you know. So we're going back and forth with our contact, and she's like, every couple of days she's saying, you know, just we'll let you know by this day, what day you can book a flight home and we can make a deal and this and that, rah. So each day it was like the anxiety of not knowing what the fuck is going on. 2, feeling like trapped and helpless. And just the fear of the unknown, man. You're just like this, you know, she's saying potentially could be a year in prison because in Thailand, Valium is a stage 4 narcotic. Yeah, they sell it at the pharmacy, but the lawyer was saying they have this deal going, the cops and the pharmacies have this deal to stitch up tourists. So they sell them over the counter or under the counter, but they're still a stage 4 narcotic. So by the time you're there, it's like you're there for narcotics, man, and that's not a good thing in Southeast Asian countries, you know? No. So everyone's like, Dad's looking it up and seeing it's like a year in prison and this, the fine and whatever, you know, and I'm like, fuck, I don't care how much money it is, like, get me the fuck out of here, you know? So this goes on for days and days and days, back and forth, trying to get this proper like prescription translated and everything. And in the meantime, I'm like, I've got this court statement that's in all Thai as well, and I'm like, how do I know they're not stitching me up for like more? You know, how do I know they're not like adding a couple zeros onto that 8 and then putting intent to distribute or something like that, you know? So I'm like, all right. And then people didn't believe me that it was just 8 Valium either, you know? So I'm like, all right, I went and got this, started going to this sports bar down the road a fair bit. And once I got to know this chick, they're okay, you know, I was like, reckon you can help me have a look at this and just tell me what it says here and that, you know? And she's like, 8 Valium pills, personal use, rah. So it was like, had that translated. I knew I wasn't getting stitched up in that way, which was kind of a little sigh of relief. But yeah, so back and forth with this chick trying to get this deal happening, you know? So, yeah, it gets to the point where I'm like, so 12 days go past. I go back to court. We actually go see this lawyer because like we kind of wanted to go see what she had to say anyway, because at court she was kind of like we were trying to ask her things and she was kind of like acting like as if she could say something that she couldn't say at court, like as if there was like voice recordings or something around and they could hear what we were all talking about. So she was kind of keep it chill, and then we're like, all right, we'll go see her at her office and see what she has to say. So maybe 4 or 5 days after the court, me and my mum, we go out to her office, her little office, and yeah, we're there, and all she does is basically just explain exactly what she said there. Like she had nothing new to say. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4 remands, 12 days each one. Upon the 4th remand, you'll get your judgment, this and that. And I'm just like, man, I can't be here for 48 days. Like I have a business to run. I got clients that have bookings, that have deposits. Like I got so much responsibilities back home. I was like, I cannot be here for this long. Like, so anyway, I'm like, oh, fuck that, man. Like I'm not listening to her, this and that. So I'm like trusting in our contact that, you know, she's going to make a deal and get us out of there. And then it just keeps going on and on and on. And it was like, it got to the point where I'm like, I don't even know if she's like genuine now. I'm like, she could have mates here and she's also looking for a payout, you know? So in a place where you like can't trust anyone, like I had to trust someone, you know? So it gets to the point where like mum's moved flights a couple of times. And she just had to go back to work. Like she couldn't stay there any longer, you know? So I'm like, nothing was kind of sorted yet. And that was heavy, man, you know, like having, we moved the flights a few times, booked this hotel, other rooms, changing rooms, trying to stay and this and that, just hoping it'll all get sorted before, you know, mum left so she wasn't leaving me there solo, you know, because it was bothering her and my old man just as much, if not more, than it was bothering me, you know.
How was it bothering you the most?
I think what was bothering me the most was the fact that I was causing a lot of stress for my parents, but also I was being kept there against my will, but I have a lot of responsibilities and I have a business to run, and I'm like, man, I hate being away for this long. So not being there, for one, because it was like, you know, there's points where I'm like, these cunts just probably think I'm making this shit up just to stay away, you know? So I'm like, no, I've got, you know, I need to get back. So what was bothering me was that, man. It was just being trapped, being stuck. and also the stress that it was causing my parents and family, and I just wanted to get home, you know. And it got to the point where Mum had to fly out, so you know, I walk her out the front and put her in a taxi, and she's bawling her eyes out, you know. It was super hard, and basically she had to take off, like fucking absolutely bawling her eyes out, and I just sat out the front of the hotel for like an hour just crying, man, because I was just like, this is just so fucked, you know, just like, what now? I'm just here to just tackle the rest of this journey head on, you know. And then that's when I just thought, you know what, it's like, it's up to me now to, you know, show everyone that is concerned and worried and scared, and that it's like, I got this, you know, don't stress, you know, just handle it, just fucking stick your chest out and handle it, you know, as they say. And that's what I had to do. But as much as I can say that, didn't take away from the fact that they were still super stressed about it all, you know. So anyway, calling them every day, just keeping them in touch, keeping them up to date with everything, going back and forth with this contact. You know, next day it's like, oh, we'll let you know tomorrow if we can make a deal, this and that, and we'll let you know when you can book your flight out, you know. So each day I'm like, all right, and I'm just booking hotels for 2 or 3 days, because I'm like, surely by this time I'm going to be able to go home, you know, I'm going to be able to book my flights home. And then I get another call back from her. Oh, it's looking like it's probably going to be at least another 10 days. I'm like, man, come on, bro, like, let me the fuck home. Like, I don't want to be here anymore, you know, like, so I'm like, all right, what can I do? So it was just Groundhog Day, man. It was just like super blessed that it was in a place where, you know, beautiful weather, beaches, weed's legal. So that was helping me get through, you know. It could have been a place where it was a lot more expensive to stay, you know. So the hotels were getting gradually less and less nice. But you know what? After being in that cell, man, just having a pillow was luxury, you know. So just having running water was luxury. I ended up being in this room at the end, like, by like the 24th day, because I ended up getting 2 days bail, and then they gave me 2 weeks, two lots of 12 days bail, and then they gave me the judgment. But yeah, by the end I'm like, man, I've got a chair to sit on, like, I'm not on this concrete, I'm not on this hardwood floor now. I got running water. This room I was in, the bed was rock hard, but it had a pillow. The water was running, it was trickling, but it was warm, so it was like luxury. You know, so it made me appreciate a lot of the little things a lot more, you know. And it was like, no matter where I was and what I was going through, it's like everything from that point on was luxury, you know. But at the same time, I was still stuck, I was still trapped there, you know. People were looking at my stories and that, and they're like, man, it looks like you're having a great time, like, in a nice tropical area. Where are you, like Jamaica or some shit, you know? I'm like, nah, man, well, it looks like that, it looks great. I was like, but you know, I was telling a few friends over there, and one of my friends, she was like, man, I sent her a voice recording, and she's like, sent one back, she's like, man, I love how you can just start this conversation with a giggle and then tell me the most fucked up shit ever, you know? And she's like, I love the attitude about it, you know? And I'm like, well, man, what else can I do, you know? I'm always a firm believer in, like, everything happening for a reason, and that things are happening for me and not to me, you know? So it was the forced detox that I need, you know? It was that I needed. You know, it taught me a lot obviously with gratitude and stuff like that. I mean, I always expressed my gratitude for everything, and super grateful just to even be here. But this gave me a whole new level of appreciation for the little things. And plus, you know, having the parents that I do have, man, you know, the way they stepped up to help me get it, or even just to support me while I was stuck over there, was incredible. So
what are you thinking in the alone time when that's happening?
Well, it was just a sinking gut feeling that I just couldn't shake, man. It was just like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm just like, I just need to stay distracted. So I was getting up in the morning, I was going to the beach, taking a plunge in the beach, just kind of trying to cleanse the soul a little bit, you know. Going back to the gym, I was training in the morning, going to the beach, having a swim, coming back to the room, having a shower, relaxing for a little bit, smoking a joint, and I'd go for a walk. Then just sort of walk around till dinner, get some food, you know, and then just try not to just have drinks and shit, you know, because it was like, as stressful as it was like I needed to save money as well because I knew I was going to be paying a hectic fine or something or worse, you know. So, but I'm getting to the point where I'm like Groundhog Day, man. Like each day was just like, oh man, it felt like I was there for so long. And I'm sitting at the beach. I remember sitting there once and I'm watching this plane fly over and I'm looking at the islands surrounding and I'm like, man, fuck my passports, man. I was like, there's got to be a way that I can get back to Australia without having to go through the airports and shit, you know? I'm like, fuck, man, that's how desperate it was getting. Because I'm mentally strong and like, this was challenging, man. There was a few moments where I was like, fuck, I felt pretty like fragile and like.
Why?
I don't know, man. It just was like, there was points where it felt like it was never going to end. It felt like an alternate reality. Like, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know. It was just a crazy thing to experience and to feel that level of like, I'm completely in someone else's hands, someone that just is like, they're just making shit up as they go, you know? So it's like, I got to be very carefully with how I play this and what I do to like, even with paying the fine and stuff like this, you know? So the whole thing was just a battle of like staying mentally strong and just being like, keeping myself occupied and busy, but at the same time just being like, I don't know where this is going, you know, and just being that uncertain and that like, I don't know, yeah, like I was saying before, the fear of the unknown. And yeah, man, it was, and it was only just getting started at this point as well, man, you know, like,
jeez,
it was like, I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. It was just progressively getting worse. But I was.
Did you know it was getting worse?
I didn't know it was getting worse. No, I had no idea what was happening. And that was super scary, you know. But eventually, I'm getting calls from our contact, and she's like, "All right, they agreed to make a deal, this and that. They'll accept the deal for $18,000 Australian, and they won't budge at all." And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. $18,000, bro. And she's like, yeah, because they got to pay the judge, the police chief. They got to pay everyone because it's already gone through the system and the courts and all this shit now, rah, you know. And I'm just like, oh, whatever, man, you know. And I'm like, at the point, I'm that desperate. I'm like, I'll pay whatever to get out of here. But I can't show that I'll pay whatever. I can't say that I'll pay whatever because if I just give up $18,000 like that, there's no guarantee that they're not going to ask for another $18,000. And it's like, I'm fucked, you know, like, so I was just blessed that I had like some spare, well, not spare, but I was blessed I had money in crypto still, which got my ass out of it. But still, that was, you know, money I did not want to spend, that was supposed to sit there, you know, but at the end of the day, it was better than me not sitting there than the money sitting there, you know, so better to get me home. So, anyway, I'm telling her, all right, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even trust this chick anymore, man. How do I even know that
she's not getting paid?
How do I even know she's not getting paid from this? How do I even know that this is even going to go to the judges, bro, or the police chief or anyone? I don't know anyone. You know, I call my mate and he's like, look, to be honest, man, I don't even really know her that well. And I'm like, bro, I've just spent 2 weeks plus, like, relying on this chick, thinking it's a friend of yours who's going to make a deal for me and save my ass, bro. And now you're telling me that you don't even really know her that well. And I'm like, what is going on, man? You know, I'm like, my heart just sunk again. And I'm like, all right. And then another lad calls me, his friend, who's like one who put her onto my mate. And he's like, man, just, you know, maybe go talk to this person, like, you don't know if like this and that. And I was like, man, fuck, this is like, you know, it's just a mess, bro. It's a mess. I was like, I got to trust someone. I got to do something. And he's like, oh, we can't promise anything. And I was like, I know, but like, fuck, man. Like, what else am I supposed to do, you know? Because I'm talking to other people, like locals there and shit. And they're like, man, you can try talk to the embassy and stuff like that. But it's like, you try to get anyone involved, they hate people stepping on their toes on their turf. They're like, you're now affecting our pay. They were dragging on. They kept saying they'll drag court on for 6 months if they want to and all this shit. Full just scaring you to the point where you're backed into a corner and you have nothing to do but just play the game, man, and pay the fine. So I had a few mates, like, bless their souls, man. Like they sent me a couple of $1,000 each of them just to like help out with the bill and shit, you know, absolute legends. So I was like, I can pay it, but I was like, I can pay it in small amounts. I was like, I got to borrow money from this. I was like, just let me pay this much now and this much now and this now, you know. So I just paid it in little segments to her because her mum, she sent it to her mum who put it in baht and then sent it to them in baht apparently, you know. So I'm like, all right. So I got the bill out the way with, right, and then the next court date comes around. The second court date comes around. So by then it's been 3 days in the cell, 24 days on bail. I get to court. I'm told, so before court, I'm told that the money I've paid is going to get me on this bus to Bangkok immigration, because they're like, you have to go to immigration after court because you can't go back into the country or whatever. You need to go through this system and this to get out. And I'm like, fuck, man. I'm ready to go home. Like, just let me book a flight. Like, escort me to the airport, whatever you need to do. I don't care. Just, like, let me go the fuck home, bro. Like, so, yeah. So I'm thinking, all right, I've got this bus trip, 13 hours from Phuket to Bangkok, 13-hour drive. So I pack my bags in the morning. I packed a bag full of food, drinks, whatever, just thinking, you know, snacks for the bus trip, this and that. Thinking of like a coach, you know, in my head. I'm like, when it actually happened, I was like, what was I thinking? Mm-hmm. This is Thailand, man. This is Thailand. You don't get no luxury coach, bro. Like, fuck. So
yeah, I've done them.
So, yeah, so we go to court, sit in at court all day. Finally get called up for judgment, and I'm standing in front of the judge, and at this point, the interpreter comes back, and she's like, do you want any legal representation? And I was like, nah. I've made a deal with this judge. I hadn't even spoke to the judge or anyone, so I'm going into court like head on, like with the trust that I've actually made this deal, you know, not knowing what the fuck's about to actually happen. I could be just walking into like my fucking a year jail sentence, like unknowingly, you know. So I'm like, oh, no, I think it should be all right, you know. And then the judge comes on, and through the interpreter, he's like, why did you buy the Valium? Oh, for the flight home, you know. I hate flying, this and that. Well, they're illegal in Thailand. Yeah, well, I get that now. I understand that now, you know. Like, next time, buy something different sort of thing, you know. I'm like, man, next time, don't fucking sell them at the pharmacy, man. Like, you guys are the ones stitching me up here. Like, don't make out that I'm the criminal, man. Like, I'm not done nothing wrong here, you know. Anyway, he's like, all right, well, the usual fine. How do you plead? I'm like, guilty. Like, clearly, I've already said that. I've already been here this long. Like, how do you plead guilty? All right, well, the usual punishment is this and a year in prison. And I'm like, looking at the interpreter like, what the fuck, you know? And she's like, no, it's okay. And he's like, but because you pled guilty, we'll give you 6 months in prison and this fine. And I was like, fuck, like, surely not, you know? And then he's like, but, you know, like, obviously couldn't say anything, but he's like, make it a 2-year suspended sentence and whatever amount of fine. Boom, free to go, basically. All right, sick, all good. I got this, you know, 2-year suspended sentence, pay the fine now, get out of here, be done with Thailand ever again, you know, never going back there. So we go up to the main office in the court. I see it was supposed to be like a 30,000 baht fine. I go up there. I had like 35,000 baht on me just in case it was a bigger fine. I get up there and she's like 9,000 baht and you're free to go. And I was like, fuck. So give the fine, get my fucking paperwork, and I walk out the front and I'm like, no way, it's over, you know? So I call my mum and I'm like, Mum, I'm free to go. Like, pardon me. They've just told me I'm free. I've got my bags. I'm standing out the front of court. Like, I'm free. I could get in a taxi right now and go, but I don't have my passports yet. So I'm like, book a flight. You know? So then I get a call from the contact, and she's like, just wait here, wait out the front of court because the police chief's going to come and give you your passports back. I'm thinking, all right. She's like, he'll probably just give you a lift back to Phuket or whatever, something like that. So I'm like, all right, no worries. I'm waiting out the front, have a cigarette. He rocks up and he's like, calls me over, you know, jump in his car. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? You know, like this is, it's a bit odd. And he's got his phone he's through the translator. Oh, I've never taken a suspect in my car and all this stuff, you know, right? I'm like, oh, cool, man. Like, you know,
suspect.
Sick. Yeah, calling me a suspect. And I was like, yeah, bro, fuck, big criminal, hey, buying Valium from the pharmacy, you know? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm just like trying to be like, okay, like, can you hurry up, you know? Because I'm like, where we had to go to get my passports or some shit apparently was like closing at like 4 p.m. and it's like 3:30 or 3 o'clock and this dude's like driving at a snail's pace, man, like fucking just, you know, like aggravating me. And I'm like, man, and then he's like saying things and he's like, how badly do you want to go home? And like, you know, and I'm like, man, I just want to, you know, get the fuck out of here, like talking anything. I was like, I'll pay you whatever right now. Like, I'll give you cash as well. Like, what do you want? And he's like, I don't want cash. He's like, I want a souvenir. He's like, do you have any like soccer jersey or whatever, you know? And I'm like, man, I don't follow soccer. I was like, but I got a basketball jersey. I was like, I got a Shaquille O'Neal basketball jersey. And he's like, will it look good on me? Like through this interpretation thing? I'm just like picturing this little dude, bro, you know, just wearing this massive jersey. Like, and then like I had these like fake sunnies on me that I'd bought there. And I put them on, like, well, he's going back and forth. He goes to this big building, massive big building, like hardly anyone there. I've like walked across the road, just had a smoke at the park while he's doing his thing. Then we jump back into the car and he's like, we've got to go back to the courthouse. And then he takes me back to the courthouse and he's like, wait here, gets out of the car, goes in the courthouse, walks out and I see one of my passports in his hand, you know, and I'm like, all right, here we go, like. I knew like I was one step closer like to potentially getting my passport back. So get back in the car and he's driving slow again. And I'm like, where the fuck are we going, man? What are we doing? Like, hurry up. Like, please just take me to the airport, whatever we got to do. I get to this other building and we get out of the car, get the jersey out of my bag for him, put my sunnies on. And he's like, oh, like nice sunnies as well. And I'm like, bro, here, take them. I bought them at the beach the other day. Like, they're not real, man. Take them, you know. Basically just rolling me, everything. Just already rolled me for my time, rolled me for my money. They're rolling me for my clothes now, bro. I'm like, what else do you guys want? Like, fuck, man, take my shoes as well, bro. Like, fuck. So
what about the underwear?
Underwear, yeah. I was like, fuck, take this shit stained underwear. Oh, put it on with your fucking jersey, you dickhead, man. So anyway, we go to this other building. This other young cop comes out and meets us. And he's like, oh, just get in the back of here. Throws me in the back of this other police truck and fucking locks the door. And I'm like, the fuck is going on? So I call my mum and I'm like, don't book anything just yet. I was like, I'm back in the police truck going somewhere. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, don't do anything yet because you might not be going home just yet, right? So I just take off in this car. I'm just sitting in the back of this police truck driving somewhere. I'm like, I have no idea where I'm going, man. I'm thinking like...
Why'd you get in?
Why did I get in?
The car, did you have an option?
I had no option. No, the police chief standing there, this other cop, it was like, I was in this complex, which was like a police building or whatever, you know? Okay. And I'm like, I'm with the police chief. I'm like, even when he wouldn't give my passport back, I'm like, if he's got it on him now, I'm like, there's still nothing I can do. Because I was like, I can't just snatch it off this dude and run. Like, what? I've got nothing I can do here, you know? So I got in the back of this truck and then they drive me to, this other little like detention center, immigration in Phuket. So I get out of the car, go through these doors. I was actually going to I've got a printout of the mugshot with the like the whiteboard with all the Thai writing on it with me standing in front of the like height thing, you know. I'm going to get it made into some t-shirts.
6'10"?
Hey?
6'10"?
Yeah. And so yeah, I get in. I actually snapped a photo here because I was on the phone to my parents when I got in there, you know. The dude that was working there was actually pretty nice. I get in there and there's two cells full of people, like 15 in this one, 15 in this one. I sit down and they're like, all right, they're like, here's some food. Disgusting looking food. They're like, once you eat this, you have to get in there. and I'm already through this gate with like barbed wire and everything. I'm already locked in there. So, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, surely not. I'm like, they just said I was free to go at court. I was like, I just paid the fine. I'm done. They said I was free. And they're like, yeah, but right, this is what you got to do. Right. So one of the benefits from the paying that fine and not getting the police chief not getting locked up, and that one of the extra things that came with it was the police chief said he's going to get me on this truck. They kept saying a bus. They're going to get me on this bus to Phuket, to Bangkok the next day. So I get into this immigration cell. It was pretty funny, like everyone in there was obviously in the same boat. Some people had been in there ages, had their little system going in there and that, everyone was just named named by their country. So there was England, there was Sweden, there was Ireland, there was a couple of African lads, there was one lad from Uzbekistan, there was a French lad, like where everyone's kind of having a laugh, having a talk. Like this Irish lad, bro, like fuck, some of the stories, man. He's just a young, like privileged kid that was just like a big mouth, but also like quality entertainment, man. Like I think I was probably the only one in the cell that like didn't punch the fuck out of him in this immigration cell, but people would like feed him like but not really bad, and he'd get back up and like be like, oh, didn't feel it and all this shit, and then he'd come over to me and he's chatting to me and stuff, I was just like, man, just relax, yeah, like anyway, like the next day in this cell, like everyone starts working out and shit, so we're doing push-ups and stuff and sitting around playing like a bottle flip game and stuff, everyone's just keeping themselves entertained. One of the English lad, he had his missus there who was coming in and bringing him vodka in water bottles and stuff. So there was a point there where she comes in, the delivery, 2 bottles of water, 2 bottles of vodka. So he's passing around, everyone's like fucking having a few swigs and shit. All of a sudden, like he gets pretty lit straight away. Like it just starts popping off in this cell, man. Everyone's got piss in them now, He's like coming over me and he's like, he's sick of this Irish lad, bro. And he's like, I'm going to fucking do him. I'm going to bang him out, And I was like, go on then, bro. Go on. Yeah. You wouldn't do it, Yeah. Anyway, this English lad, bro, he's like older English dude, like skinny as fuck, bro. Built like the Crazy Frog, man. You remember that? Like, da-da-da-da back in the day. And he's like, I'm going to bang him out. And I was like, go on then, bro. Go on. Few drinks into him, runs up to this Irish lad, bro, goes to swing on him, and the Irish dude just like whack, like smacks him in the face, like, and he comes back over me, he's like, I told you I was gonna bang him out, and I was like, bro, you didn't do anything, bro, Yeah. Oh,
so that was like a funny thing. It was a
game. Yeah, there was.
So the Irish guy wasn't trying to actually hurt him.
No. Like, the Irish guy was kind of just defending himself, but at the same time, he was poking at everyone, like just a hell young kid that was like obviously never really been through it that much, but had just a hell cheeky little cunt, but funny as well. And
what are you thinking?
Well, to be honest, I kind of knew the timeline now, so I'm like, I got to be here for 24 hours to get this bus the next day. So I'm like, I'm happy to be there at this point because I knew being there was one step closer to going home. So I'm kind of like,
was that actually the case?
Yeah, that was the case. So I wasn't happy about being there, but I was happy that I was finally in the process. I had begun the journey home, that's how I kept seeing it.
You said it was at the start. It's only just getting started.
Yeah.
Is it getting, what point is the...
Is it getting started? So, Well, this is it. This is the start. This is it. So once I got into this immigration cell in Phuket, I was like, all right, tomorrow the bus is coming to drive us to Bangkok. From there, I go to immigration. When I get to immigration, I'm told to just tell them in Bangkok, I'm told to just tell them I've got money, I'm ready to book my flight, let me go home sort of thing. And they'll book me a flight home and get me out of there. That's what I'm being told. So I'm thinking this bus to Bangkok is going to be, it's going to be one of the final pieces in the puzzle, and it's going to be one of the final pieces of this journey to finally getting home, So, so 24 hours in this cell in Phuket, it wasn't too bad, with that thought, knowing that I'm coming home. So Arvo comes around, they start getting people out of the cell next to us. So in the cell next to us is all like, not Thais, but like Thai looking lads. So all like Myanmar, Burmese, like all these kind of boys, They start getting them out first, and someone works. So it's like two cages here, with a opening here, which is caged as well, and then like an opening sort of like not a courtyard, but a small sort of area with like table and chair and like lockers and this and that before you get to the big gates here. So they get all these other lads out. Someone walks out with this like long chain of like handcuffs, and they take these dudes out and they handcuff all these lads together, and they go into this room and they pull out this long like stool, you know, like a bench seat that's like 4 meters long, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, what the fuck are they doing with that? Like, what is going on? So these guys all get walked out through the gate. Obviously handcuff everyone so people don't fucking leg it, but we finally get called out. So everyone's starting to get let out. And I'm one of the last ones to be called out. And as I'm walking out, the Irish lad was in front of me and they handcuff him. And then as I'm walking out, they handcuff me to this Irish lad, bro. And I'm like, why the fuck out of everyone here am I the one getting handcuffed to this absolute moron, man? I was like, get him off me, bro. Like, fuck, man. So, yeah, bro, fuck. So, yeah. Anyway, we all get our shit together. And I'm like, I need to just make a call quickly because they still got our phones and stuff. So I pay off one of the guards and I'm like, man, please, just let me make a phone call. Let me just call my parents. Let me just tell them that everything's okay. I'm on the way to Bangkok now. We're about to get on the bus. Rah. So I slip this dude a bit of cash and then he gives me my phone, lets me make a quick phone call. So yeah, quickly made the phone call, let him know everything's all good. All right, sweet as. All right, I'm good to get on this bus now. So we all walk out. And there's this truck, this black truck, and it was like all like completely sealed in with bars. And this thing's about the carriage that we were sitting in was about 4 meters by 2 meters, about not 2 meters, but just enough. About there and there was the width of the walls. So they've slid this stool like in the middle, and then there's 2 bench seats that run either side of the truck. So we get out there. There's about 15 of us, and when we get out there, man, the truck's basically full already, and like we've got like eight luggages with us, and they're like, all right, everyone get on. And I'm like about to get on. I'm like, I'm still handcuffed, you know, like, can you please take this off? Like, right. And he's like, oh yeah, we will. So I get on this truck and it's fucking crammed, bro. Like you cannot even move. Like everyone's having to slide down. Everyone's losing their mind. Like there was a couple of women on there who were in another women's like immigration cell. They were all coming to Bangkok with us. They're crying. Like people are popping off in there. Like everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? This cannot be happening, man. Like we're all being like crammed in the back of this truck. And then once we got in, they just fucking throw these bags in, like push all these bags in. Like everyone's like, bags are falling on people and this and that. And I'm just like, this can't be happening, man. This is fucking a horror story, you know? The English lad's sitting there, like bag hit him on the back of the head. And he's like, I was like, bro, get the fuck up and like help, man, help. Like everyone's in this together. Like be a man, bro. Like, you know, just help people move around, sort shit out, whatever, you know? Anyway, we get on, the door shuts. Everyone's losing their shit. And I'm like, man, I've still got 3 joints on me, right? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I've got a few joints on me. I was like, let's just calm down. Let's just relax. I was like, I'll spark one up once we get driving and I'll spark the other 2 every 3 or 4 hours, you know? So we got this, you know? I was like, we're all in this together. There's nothing we can do now. The door's shut. Let's just calm down and like, let's get through this, you know? So meanwhile, I'm still handcuffed. They never undid my handcuffs to this Irish lad. So he's jumping around and moving and carrying. I'm like, fucking sit down, bro. Every time he's moving. So I'm in the middle on this bench seat. I was sitting like kind of side on, but I moved my legs so I was like facing forward, you know. And I'm sitting there. I got this handcuff on my hand. I had my shirt off. So once I had the cuffs on, I was like, fuck, I can't get my shirt on either. I was like, what if it gets cold overnight, you know? So I get my shirt and I shoved it in between my wrist and the cuff because I was like, if this dude keeps jumping around and like this thing keeps clicking and tightening over this course of the trip, bro. I was like, after 13 hours, bro, my hand's going to fall off. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, I need to do something to like stop these cuffs tightening. And, you know, so trying to get everyone to calm. Everyone sort of settled down finally, fucking sparked up the joint, passed it around. And then like one of the African lads snuck his phone on. And these 2 lads were funny as, man, and because everyone was being named by their country, right? So occasionally one of the other African lads, he would just pipe up out of nowhere and be like, Australia, no problem. England, no problem. Uzbekistan, no problem. And he's like, Ireland, big problem. You know, and everyone would just be on the bus just fucking cracking up laughing and shit, you know. So, and then one of them snuck his phone on and he's trying to get it working. And I was like, man, can I please like make a call or make a text, you know, send a text message or some shit. So he's trying to get it working and it's not working. And the Irish lad's like, give it to me. Like, I'll get it working. And at this point, everyone's just like, this dude just talks shit, you know? Like, he's like, I got my sister coming, like, I got the money's coming, all this, rah, rah. And I'm like, at the point where like, you don't even have a sister, man. Like, stop talking shit, you know? Yeah. And he's like, no, trust me, she's coming, I swear to God. Rah, rah. I'm like, nah, bro. Anyway, this dude, like, he's like trying to get his WhatsApp working, man, this African lad. And he's like, I can't, you know? He's like, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, the Irish lad's like, give it to me. Anyway, he finally gets the phone, goes through it, delete this, turn this off, make this happen, rah, rah. All of a sudden he gets his WhatsApp working and shit. And I looked at the African lad, I was like, that was actually pretty fucking impressive, bro. Like, that was actually pretty impressive, man. I was like watching that happen just then, you know. So I was like, maybe he's not complete full of shit, you know. Maybe he's all right. Anyway, like an hour or so goes by and I'm like, they stop at a 7-Eleven. And I'm like, because obviously we weren't getting let off for a toilet break or anything. Stopped at 7-Eleven. I said to the driver, and I'm like, bro, can you grab like a bunch of shit? I was like, I already paid you off to make a phone call. I was like, I gave you like 1,000 baht and I made one quick phone call. I was like, you can help me out here again, yeah? I was like, I gave him some money. I was like, can you go buy like 10 packs of ciggies, 20 bottles of water? You know, I was like, for everyone. I was like, because if there's a time where like, I can help everyone calm down. I was like, because if everyone's popping off, man, it's going to piss me off and it's going to make this journey a lot harder. I was like, if I can just like calm everyone down, just like, you know, get some food, get some drinks, whatever, get ciggies, it's going to make it a little bit easier, you know? So anyway, comes back, 10 packs of ciggies, passing them through the bars and shit. And I was just like, boom, 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 just giving them out to everyone on the bus, bottles of water, everything, you know? Took off and I was like, fuck yeah, like everyone's smoking, everyone's chilling, laughing, having a bit of a good time, as best of a time as we could in such a fuck situation. But then I'm like still cuffed to this Irish lad and I'm thinking, man, what if like, especially after smoking the joint, when you start thinking, you know, I'm like, what if this truck goes off the road? Like, what if we end up in a river? And I'm like, not only am I stuck in here, I'm handcuffed to this idiot. So I'm like,
where do those not intrusive thoughts, but like those... Because you had it with the tsunami as well.
Yeah. So I just guess, man, like just being an overthinker and just thinking of every possible scenario to an outcome, bro. Because I'm like, I don't know how much this dude does this drive. I'm like, he's booting it, man. He's hooking corners, and like because this stool this long stool in the middle, it's just sitting there, bro. So when we were going around, when he was hooking like long corners and shit, like this thing's like this. So I'm like watching through the bars and through the front window, and I'm like, all right, like left corner's coming, so I'm like supporting this bench so like it's not falling over. So this thing's sliding, and I'm like one big slide across, and this thing tips, man. I'm like, you know, so I'm just losing my mind thinking of all this shit. So I've got these 2 bars ran across the roof, and this thing was thin. This bench was thin. So like when my ass started getting sore, I just grabbed the bars and I just sort of lift myself up and just hold myself there for a bit, just mixing it up. But then it helped with like keeping the support on this bench, you know. And then because old mate had his phone, it was like 2 hours had gone past, and I was like, that went pretty quick, you know. And I was like, fuck yeah, boys. I was like, we got this. I was like, we can do another 12 or 11 of them, you know. So I was like, we got this, you know. All through the night, like the first 6 hours like seemed to go pretty quick, and then the last 6 just dragged on, man. And then like it got to the point where like the sun was coming up, everyone's like tired and sweaty, and like it was just fucking cooked, man. And then we finally get into Bangkok, into this massive complex. We go through these like this big like gate, barbed wire, through another gate, you know. It's like open one, sit, open another one, go through. Massive complex, this joint. This was IDC in Bangkok, Immigration Detention Centre. And there's not much online about it. There's a few leaked photos that I've found. It's insane. I didn't realise how bad it was going to be.
Why do they hide it?
because if anyone saw what was going on in there, it would be like closed by United Nations or some shit, man. Like, it is insane. Like, there's something needs to happen because it's absolutely wild. And anyway, we get in there. We're in this truck. I'm busting for a piss, by the way. Like, half the people are the ones that didn't use a bottle on the bus, and they sit us in the sun in this metal truck, like baking in the morning sun for like an hour before they actually open the door, man, to let us out, So by the time they actually let us out into this complex, I'm like fucking busting. So I've ran through to like, where's the toilet, and like gone to like down these hallways. Like this place was huge. It was like a massive like prison complex with a hospital in it, everything. I've ran through this courtyard into like the gymnasium area and then into where the toilets are. Took a piss, come back. And they're like, all right, everyone grab your bags, grab your this, grab your that. Go through to this main open like courtyard area, grab a seat and just wait for your name to be called out and this and that. So we're sitting there and they're like, grab 2 changes of clothes from your bags. And I'm like, they've never ever told us to grab changes of clothes for any cell yet. So I'm like, how long are we going to be here? Like, telling me to grab 2 changes of clothes is super concerning, Mm-hmm. So I did that. They took a photo of us, like another mugshot against the like height thing and that, which became our IDC card, was our photo ID with our IDC number. So, because they had like a pharmacist sort of come around if you needed like your prescriptions or whatever. Your IDC card sort of got you through that whole situation. But then it was like, all right, everyone had the number to what cell they were going into. So me and a few of the boys went to the same cell. The African lads went to a different cell. But yeah, I was instantly put in this one that was like absolutely fucked because of how I look, They just assumed the worst about me. Because by that point, it's not about what you did. You're just there as a criminal, So I'm trying to like, every time I had an opportunity to like talk to someone, I'm like, man, I'm only here for this. They're not interested at that point, bro. By that time, you're just a criminal, Anyway, so we get our bags. They're like, come through here. So I can see a few cells in that. I can see a few empty cells. I couldn't see like where we were going. And this complex kind of looked empty. For as big as it was pretty like ghostly and abandoned feeling. Anyway, we get our bags. They're like, come through here, put your bags in this room. If you've got any valuables in your bag, grab them out now or put them in a locker. If you want to do that. And I was like, oh, I do. And then I was like, actually, no, I'm not putting them in a locker. I'm not getting my valuables out. And then I'm like, fuck, I've already told them now I've got valuables, So I was like, fuck, what do I do? So I was like, oh, actually, no, I don't actually, just trying to brush it off. Anyway, we go into this room to put our bags in. This massive room with like 200 plus suitcases. And I'm like instantly thinking, how many people do they have hidden here, man? Like, what the fuck is actually going on? I'm like, there's 200-300 suitcases in here and I haven't seen a person yet. I was like, what the fuck is happening? So we put our bags in there, grab our stuff, and they walk us over to this stairwell. We go up 2 flights of stairs. The first floor was a massive open cell with all women. And then we went up to the next floor and we come around the corner and there was just this massive cell, probably like 15 by maybe like 20 meters by like 10 meters maybe. And it is packed. There's like 150 people in this cell, man. And there's like all walks of life. Like we come around the corner and there's dudes standing there like fuck Muay Thai shorts on. Everyone's like looking hectic as like ready to punch on, And I'm like looking at the other boys and I'm like, this shit's going down in this cell, man. Like I got your back, you got my back. Yeah, sweet as bro, all good. Like this is gonna be hectic. So we get into this cell. We walk straight towards this end and then down to this end towards where like the toilet, the bathroom kind of area was, because everyone had to wash their feet because they had some kind of etiquette in this cell. Anyway, we sit down in a line. And they're like, oh, get up, move forward, and like behind me, this dude comes up to the English lad behind me, like boots him in the back, bro, like kicks this guy so hard, and I'm like, fuck, bro, like this shit's already going down. And then the one dude that was like, there was like a number of people who kind of not worked there, but were prisoners, but had the like roles in the cell, you know? So there was like a boss of the cell. And then there was this one dude who was telling us what to do and this and that. When we first got in there, it was like, all right, everyone's got to wash their feet. You got to do this, and like, he was Australian, bro. I heard the accent, and I'm like, bro, where are you from? You know, and he's like, Richmond. I was like, man, I got a tattoo studio in Thornbury. And he's like, oh, no way, you know. So like instantly like had this connection with this dude that was kind of like in charge of like translating between the Westerners and the Myanmar boys and that in there. So wash our feet. We get sat down in this cell, and there's like a row here. There's like a row along the back where we just were, where there was like people lined up, like where you could actually lay down, bit more of a room, and then this row and this row was just like face to face, sitting spots, like you couldn't actually lay down there, you know, like it was that tight. And this cell was just, it was hectic. But then the Aussie Thai lad, he was saying, he'd come over and he's like, you can pay your way in this cell, like you can pay for a better spot in the cell if you got money on you. So I was like, yeah, fuck, done. I was like, my money's downstairs. I didn't think to grab money for this cell, you know. So I was like, I'll pay whatever it is to get a spot where I can actually like lay down, you know. So, yeah. So one of the lads that was in there, he shouted me. There was this Israeli lad, massive scar across this dude's chest. And like once I sit down and start talking to him and shit, like this dude's like second in command in this cartel in Israel, and he's getting extradited back to Israel for murder and all this shit, bro. Like some of the people in there and the stories and that, you know, I was like, this is pretty wild, you know. I'm glad like we're on the same side. But yeah, so he shouted me, and then until I could go get my money, and then yeah, just. Once he realised I was a tattooist, this dude as well was like hassling me to tattoo him, and I'm like, with what, bro? With what? And he's like, grabs a toothpick and this and that, and he's like, come on, you know. And I was like, bro, just drop it, yeah, just drop it. But Robert, the Aussie Thai lad, he kept saying, he's like, man, he's like, just wait until midnight. He's like, this place turns into a madhouse, you know. And I'm like, all right, you know, just all right, whatever, this and that, and saying how like someone had died in the cell 2 weeks before. He came in and he was like fucking off chops or whatever, and then the boss of the cell like beat the shit out of him, and then it fucking ended up suffocating or whatever, died in the like bathroom area just there. And he's like, fuck, he's like telling me the whole rundown of all the shit, right? So he's like, this boss of the cell, this Thai dude that worked there, I don't know, I can't remember the story, or I didn't get the full story. It was like he was either a prisoner there and he ended up continuing staying and working there or something like that. I don't know, but he had this big bed, like this bed mattress in the corner, had his kind of own sectioned off part. And he would go out at 6 p.m. out of the cell every night at 6, and he'd come back at 12 at midnight drunk and just punch the fuck out of someone, bro. Like whoever, like there was old dudes in there that like, you know, would like piss themselves or something, you know, and he would come in and he'd just be like, no, like cut sick and like fucking kicking him in the face and shit while they're sitting down. He's standing up walking over, cunts, and I'm just sitting there, man, like, this is insane, you know? You're just watching this dude, man, just like, don't fucking come near me, bro, you know? Don't come near me, man. Like,
is he big?
Nah, not at all, bro. Not at all. He was like, just like I don't know, he probably would have been about 50, just like big belly on him, just like real, just angry, grumpy motherfucker, you know? But he had his little army of like Myanmar lads there that these like, they're all like Muay Thai fighters or Muay Mai fighters. And he had his little army of boys that would like, if anyone tried to like do anything or whatever, they'd just like fucking punch the shit out of some cunt, you know? Like, and it was hectic. Like there was one like old Arab dude, and he was like going off at some shit. Apparently the day before he was going off, and today he was sitting there and he was cutting sick. He's standing up and he's like fucking going off and this and that. And then the Israeli dude steps up and he's like, and then it's him and the Israeli and the Arab dude like going at it in there. And I'm like, fuck, this is getting hectic. Anyway, they take the Israeli dude out because it was like about to pop off. And then the Myanmar boys like surround this Arab dude, man, and he's sitting on the ground, and then out of nowhere, bro, they start kicking the fuck out of this dude, bro. Like I'm hearing like head bouncing off concrete and shit, and I'm like, man, this is so hectic. And then they're saying like, and at this point, man, like everyone's just living their life in there. I'm like, I haven't seen anyone leave at this time, right? So
how long has it been?
This has been like a day or two. It was just into it straight away.
Were you emotional?
Not really at the start. There was one point where I did get a bit emotional. Not because of like being there. It was more, I was like, is this ever going to fucking end, you know? And then I'm like, I just need to call my parents. I was like, just let me make a phone call or whatever, you know? So I'm like, I had to make because it was Saturday. I was there from Saturday till the next Friday. On the Monday, I had to put in a form, like the request to make a phone call, you know? So I did that, and then I'm talking to Robert, and I'm like, man, what have people got to do to get out of here? Like, what do you have to do? What processes do I have to go through? And he's like, oh, you got to do this. You're going to be here for like 3 weeks and this and that. And I'm like, no way, bro. No way. That is not happening. You know, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to do this, you know? So a day or two goes by, and then Robert actually had this book, probably one of the only like English speaking books that was in there. I might just take my jumper off.
Yeah,
a bit sweaty.
Yeah.
It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Education of a Bodybuilder. So I grabbed that. I was like, do you mind if I read that book? So I grabbed that, and I started reading that book, and I got through it. I got through it in about 3 days, but it helped me get through. But meanwhile, with everything else going on around me, it was just like, it helped me like distract my mind and keep me sane. And then it would just hit me in a way as well, because I've been training flat out, and it was just like, man, you know, I was like, maybe this whole journey, you know, I was like, I get the lessons, and I get it. Like I'm here for a specific reason, and I'm grateful for the challenge of the hardships, because I'm like, I always think like from past experiences with bad things happening, it's like, you gotta go through it to grow as a person, as a man, you know. You gotta have these hardships, and I'm like, it gets to the point, but I got to the point where I'm like, I get it, I'm ready to go, you know. Like, so what else is there, you know? And it got to the point where I'm like, maybe it's not just about me, you know. Maybe like me being here has helped everyone else as well, you know. Especially being on that bus, the truck with all those people, getting just the little things like helping with cigarettes and stuff. And then in that cell there was, you could go to a canteen, like a commissary type thing, every two times a week. And because I had money, bro, I was just buying boxes of noodles and stuff. And like there was heaps of little lads in there that were like trying to like help me out when I first got in there, you know. So I was like, fuck, I've got the opportunity to help people here, so why not, you know? So I was shouting people cigarettes, like the little lads were coming over and sitting next to me, and they're just like pointing at the noodles and stuff. And I'm like, man, I can't understand what you're saying. I was like, but just point at something, bro. Like, you want a pack of noodles, bro? You take them, you know, like trying to help people out. I was there for my 33rd birthday, bro. So I was like calling myself Australian Jesus in Thailand. Just there to help people, you know, the saviour.
How long had that? So it'd been about would have been about 3 weeks.
Yeah. So by that time it was... from
when you first got it? Yeah.
So it was... What was it? So it was 3 days in the cell, then 24 days on bail, because it ended up being about 5 weeks I was stuck there, all up in Thailand. It was the 17th of January till about the 22nd, 23rd of February, I think. So yeah, been a while, man. And honestly, it felt like 6 months. It felt like it was never going to end, you know. So yeah, in this cell, man, in this last one, yeah, it got to the point where like, I think it was by like Wednesday, man, and I'm still like, I think I saw one person go. I remember like this German lad, he finally got to leave, and I was like, all right, sweet. I'm seeing people leave now. I'm like, because they're telling me this dude's been here 8 years, this dude's been here this long, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, does anyone even know I'm here, you know? So put in the request for the phone call on the Monday, and then I'm just waiting. You'd have like guards or whatever come up And it wasn't even really like guards, man. It was such a strange thing. Like the people that worked there and stuff, it was so unprofessional. It was like an empty complex, like ran by the prisoners, but not in a way, you know, like there was like one or two people there that were like in control of shit, but everything else was like, they'd get these Myanmar lads to come out and go down and get the food and come back up and like all in it, like, you know, and I don't know, it was just crazy. It was just crazy, man. You know, you just like, you have a bit of fun, you have a bit of a laugh with the people in there. And then occasionally you just sit back and you look and you're like, man, this is insane. Like, this is so crazy. Like, I'm actually in this.
Dark thoughts?
Not really dark thoughts, more just like.
I can't even imagine one.
Man, and that's the thing. It was like, when I was there, it wasn't like, it didn't feel as bad, you know, because it was like you're in it, your fight or flight mode is like absolutely cranked up. And it was just like getting through it, you know. It was points where it was like a school camp, a school excursion camp, whatever, but then also like prisoner of war sort of camp vibe, you know. It was just like, it was so cooked and it would change so quickly in the dynamic, man, you know. And because we could put movies on and stuff, like there was a TV in there and you could pay your way, like I was saying before, you could pay your way. So once I found out that I could like pay to put a movie on at like a certain time, I was like, yeah, done. So each night I'm like putting on the fucking movie, everyone's sitting around fucking watching the movie and stuff, you know. And meanwhile, like there's so much hectic shit happening in the cell by like with like, these other guys, this and this, the Irish lad just constantly like popping off and doing dumb shit and just but being super entertaining at the same time. Like he kept like shadow boxing and like throwing kicks and stuff, and he'd be like up against one of the poles like doing his push-ups, you know. And I'm like, man, I was like, get on the ground and do some real push-ups, you know. And he's like, I can't. He's like, me shoulder, you know, got a bad shoulder. And I was like, bro, go on, do 5 push-ups. Bro, he gets down and he goes, struggles to do 3, and he's like, falls on his face and dislocates his shoulder, bro. No. Yeah. So he gets up and he's like, like running around the cell like, like this, you know, and like everyone was like calling him Irish Mickey because it was Anyway, like Myanmar boys like grab his arm and they're like flicking it like to get his shoulder back into place, man. And I'm like just watching this dude, laughing? Bro. Yeah, everyone's laughing at this point, man. And you're just watching this dude like, what is going through your head, man? You're like one of the most challenged people I've ever seen, man. You know? Anyway, he puts it back into place and he's like, oh my God damn. Like, Anyway, he sits down and he starts doing these ones. Bro, he throws his shoulder out again. Next minute he gets up and he's like, his shoulder again. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Robert and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? Yeah. And then one of the lads that was like sitting with us, like, because our little kind of crew was like the English lad, another English lad that was next to me, an American lad, and then the Aussie Thai lad. And this American lad's just sitting there and he's like, bro, do you want to make him shit himself? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? And he's like, pulls out these eye drops and he's like, put these in his drink and he'll shit himself for like 4 hours straight, you know, like. And I was like, that's pretty fucking hilarious, to be honest, man. I was like, all right. And Ireland kept coming over to me and asking for a drink or something, you know. He's like, please, a cigarette. He's like, I'm getting money dropped off soon. My sister's coming, all this shit. He kept that story the whole time. He was like, he was committed to the cause. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I go buy a little bottle of Coke, have a swig, and I was like, filled it up. And I was like, hey, bro, I was like, do you want this drink, man? I'm like, I don't want it. And he's like, thank you. Next minute, next it, bro, like an hour goes by and then this guy's just up running back and forth, bro. And he shared it with this one other lad in there, this South African lad, like full cooked. Yeah. Actually got caught making a fucking shank because Robert, the dude here, was like giving him a bit of shit. And one of us saw, I can't remember who saw it, but I was like, hey, look at this cunt, man. And he's, sitting there like, and, Robert went over, like grabbed him, grabbed the shit off him, and was like, fuck. So when the boss of the cell lad comes back in at 12 and gets told that this lad was making a shank, fuck, man. They like took him up the front, like sat him down, and this dude's like fucking kneed him in the head, bro, and like fucking busted his teeth and all this shit, bro. It was like, it just goes from like so quickly to being like, oh, we're watching movies, having a laugh, smoking ciggies, sharing drinks, cracking up, to like this guy walks in and comes to get bashed right in front of you.
What happened to him?
The South African dude?
Yeah, with his teeth and everything.
Just fucking had to cop it, bro. Just for like 3 days after, he just sat there dead silent, didn't say a fucking word, you know? Yeah. They have a hospital in the complex because the English lad, bro, he was there because he'd like escaped England over some other bullshit. He took out heaps of loans. He wouldn't tell exactly what he did, so I was a bit sus on him, you know, but he's like, I'm going to fake a heart attack, fake this. And he's like, I can't be here. I got to get out. Like, rah, rah. And then they're like, there's a hotel in here. I mean, there's a hospital in here, bro. It's like you can fake your heart attack, but you're only going to go downstairs and come back up later, you know? Mm-hmm. So he's like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? And he had a red notice from Interpol, like international police. He was getting extradited back to London, back to England. Yeah, so it would have had to have been something hectic, you know. He was a bit sus. And then, yeah, so, fuck, what was it then? So, yeah, but I mean, there was like the bathroom area that I was talking about was like a brick sort of tiled, like trough coming off like this corner, like running along this whole wall. Probably from like the corner to like the corner there, with like running water coming out of the wall and just like buckets along the edge of it, you know. And that was what we had to use to like shower with, basically. And it was so hot in there, so you had no choice. You had to use it, you know. And for how dirty the area was, like it was running water. They kept the like floor and that kind of clean enough. So yeah, we used that a few times a day, just to like wash yourself and stuff, you know. And I'm like, man, I was trying so hard not to like get sick or catch something when I was in there, man, you know, and I'm like just surrounded by all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm good with that. Like I've got a pretty good immune system, plus like cross-contamination from being a tattoo artist, you know. I was like, I know what like to sort of not touch and where not to touch this and that, you know. So I was trying my absolute best to not get sick, and everyone's coughing and spluttering, and like it just felt like death in there, you know. It was absolutely disgusting. And then I was next to this Chinese lad, and like we had about like a regular sort of tile size. 2 of those was the width that we had to like sit and lay down, you know. And you could pay for like blankets, which would just like fold up a few times and lay them down on the tiles. So we had a little bit of cushioning, and then I'd just roll them up, put them against the wall, so I had like something to kind of sit on. But yeah, laying down, like I'm middle of the night, I've rolled over, and this Chinese lad next to me, he's done the same, and he's got this nasty cough on him, man. And I woke up one night to him like right in my face, and I was like, oh no, like that's it now. Next morning I woke up fucking feeling like absolute death. There was like they would come up once or twice a day with like a certain amount of fruit and like a little bit of fried chicken or fish or something that you could pay for through the bars. So that next day I was like, fuck, man. I was like, just get heaps of fruit into me, like try and drink water, this and that. Still got a little bit sick, but woke up the next day not feeling too bad. So kind of knocked it on the head pretty quick. 3 times a day we get fed, like always the same shit. It was like a eggplant stew with a bit of rice, but you could buy like packets of like a chicken curry or like something from the canteen thing downstairs when we get there once or twice a week. So we put that through with the rice, kind of leave the eggplant stuff alone and that. The food was fucked, but yeah, I mean, that's what we had. But I'd try to get as many bananas and stuff as I can, apples and stuff when that other truck would come, when the other little kiosk thing would come up. Besides one night I had pizza. There was 5 Japanese lads opposite us, and I was told that these lads were Yakuza, and they're like full traditional looking lads, full Japanese back pieces and stuff. I'm like, hectic. And one of them, I don't think he was Yakuza, but he was sitting with them because he was Japanese as well. He was in the cell with me at the start. He was with me in court. He seemed to been going through this process at the same time as I was. So we got to know each other pretty well. And then, yeah, these Japanese dudes, they'd paid to get like a bunch of pizzas sent in for them, you know. And like, yeah, they come in, put the pizzas down. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, it's like 5-6 days in here by now, you know. So I'm like looking over, and old mate sees me looking, and he's like, come sit. So I go and sit down with him, like, fuck, have a few slices of pizza, man. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is crazy, man. I was like, I'm in Thailand, IDC, sitting here sharing pizza with Yakuza, bro. I was like, this is insane. This is So crazy. And the whole time I'm just like trying to like mentally just take so much screenshots and notes of like everything, because I'm like, it's going to be the most craziest story to tell, you know?
You said before you weren't sure when it was going to end though.
Yeah.
Were you still thinking that?
Still thinking that. Yeah. I'm like, I still don't know when it's going to end. And people were coming over to me like, there was one little lad in there from... I'm not sure, like, I can't remember where he was from, but he was a cartoonist. He was drawing as well. And once one of them found out I was a tattooist, I went and had a look at his drawings and stuff, and then we got along real well. And he came and sat with me, and he's like, "Man, when are you getting out of here?" And I was just like, "I'm getting out like tomorrow." I kept just saying it, you know, just to try and manifest it. And he's like, he gave me a letter. He's like, "When you get out, please, can you like give this letter to these people?" He's like, "I've been in here like a month, 2 months," and he's like, "I don't think anyone knows I'm here, this and that, you know." So gave me this letter to pass on, which I ended up doing when I got out, and ended up eventually getting him out. I'm still in contact with this dude on Instagram now. But yeah, like days go by. It must have been like Wednesday, and I'm just like halfway through this book, but I'm just like seeing these people come up and call out like different country names, and I'm just like, man, like, you know, just hanging to hear Australia being called, you know, and I'm like, what do I got to do? Like, how do I get out? And Robert's like, you need to wait for your embassy to come, talk to your embassy, then your embassy will organise to book you a flight. And I'm like, all right, sweet. So we get out and we go down to the courtyard, the gym kind of area, and the English embassy rocks up, and I'm like, fuck, you know. And then Robert's like, "Oh, don't you have your British passport here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do actually." So I'm like called out to the British embassy, you know. And I was like, "Can you please help me?" You know, I was like, "They've got my passports. Like, I need to get out." I was like, "Can you please call my dad? Here's the number, this and that. You know, just let him know I'm okay." That was my main concern. I just wanted to let my parents know I'm okay. I was like, I need to tell them, I need to let them know that I'm completely fine. I was never going to tell them the condition that I was in, as fucked as it was. I just wanted to call them and let them know everything's all good. I'm safe. I'm coming home soon, you know. So that was my main concern the whole time when I was in there. So I get the British embassy. Nothing ends up happening through there. Go back up, and I'm just hanging to fucking see the Australian embassy come up, and yeah, I mean, like Monday I put in the request to make a call, and I think it was Thursday or Friday I get they come up, I hear the gate open, and then Australia, and I was like, yes, like jump up and run to the gate, you know, and they're like, phone call, come on downstairs, you know. And I'm like, thank fuck. So I walk downstairs, and there's like this open area, like kind of fenced off area with everyone sitting in a circle with like a bunch of chargers in a box, and everyone kind of stuck in here just making some quick phone calls, you know. So I've got all this info from Robert, and I'm like, all right, I need to call the embassy, tell him I can book the flight, this and that. So sit there trying to charge my phone. These shit-ass chargers, man, they're not actually doing anything. So I get it to 1%, finally get it on. I get it to 1%. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to call my dad now. Call Dad, and I'm like, Dad, I was like, you need to call the embassy. You need to tell them that I'm here. You need to tell them that they need to book a flight, like get me out of here ASAP, you know, like full desperate, like please, like begging, you know. And then Dad's like, calm down. Like you're going home tonight. And I'm like, no way. Like there's no way. I haven't even seen the embassy yet. Like that's not happening, you know.
So how did you get from there to the embassy? Sorry,
I didn't go to the embassy.
Okay,
no. So the embassy, two representatives from the embassy come up to the cell.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that actually hadn't happened. It was like I just went downstairs for the phone call. Finally, it was like the dude that worked there come and grabbed me and got me out for the phone call. So when I called Dad, I was like, you need to call the embassy. You need to tell them I'm here. You need to tell them to book, like, I've got money for the flight. I can book a flight straight away. Right. And he's like, calm down, mate. You're going home tonight. And I was like, no, surely not. Like, is it actually over, you know? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you booked like 7:30 tonight. You're going home. And I'm like, how? Like, and he's like, we end up getting that lawyer involved, the interpreter from the court at the start, because it got to the point where she actually helped another dude out that I was in contact with. He was going through for something else. This Malaysian lad. She actually helped him get home. So my parents got her involved, and she actually did a lot. She actually helped, and it was like, fuck, man, maybe we should have used her from the start, but you just don't know who to trust or what to do, you know? So you just got to do whatever your instincts are telling you to do, you know? So, yeah, so they end up hitting up the IDC. They end up getting me a flight. Had to put me on Thai Airways because no other airline would take a criminal.
What happened when you got out?
Well, I was just sitting waiting. I was actually not out. Like I got thrown back on a truck, like the same one that they drove us to Bangkok on, with a whole bunch of other lads, like Indian lads and all that. They must have been in some other big cell. And they drive us to the airport. We sit out the front of the airport in the immigration detention center truck, like big black truck. And then get me off the truck first, which was dope. And they're like, all right, come with me. Took us to, didn't give me my passports back yet. Took me to the counter. We went through with the officer. Took us through like a side entrance to the airport. Went underground. Had to like sit underground at the airport for like an hour. Then they came and grabbed us. Took us up. Walked me to the gate. Walked me to the front of the gate. Spoke to like the airlines and that. Put me on the plane. Sat me at the back of the plane. They're like, you can't have anything to drink. You can't have anything. Like basically sitting in a row at the back of the plane by myself. Because they're like, no, like I said before, no one would take criminals. And by that stage, it doesn't matter what you did. You're just a criminal to them, you know? And I'm like, I don't care what the fuck. I don't care if I can't have a drink of water right now. I was like, I'm on a plane on the way home. I was like, oh, this is the best day of my life, you know? Like I'm super stoked just to be here, man, you know? So yeah, anyway, fuck, the plane takes off, man. I'm just looking out the window, just seeing the like remove from the ground, and I'm like, so the whole time I'm like, are they gonna come and intercept this plane and like take me back and lock me up again? You know, I'm like, what is going like? It just seems so surreal,
so
man.
So it was that night you ended up?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So it was Thursday or Friday night after being in there from Saturday, you know. But that journey from between Saturday to then, it was like, man, I was like. Everyone, especially the other lads that were there, they're like, oh, you're not going anywhere. Like, we've all been here minimum 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know? So it's like, they were pumping all this shit in, you know? And I'm just like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't care. Like, I need to call my parents. And he's like, oh, I haven't spoken to my parents in 4. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. I'm not trying to compare stories here. I'm like, you don't know, man. Like, and it was just like, it was just getting to the point where I was just like, man, I can't fucking do this anymore, you know? And it was like, got to stay strong though, you know? Like, because it gets to the point where it's not just for me anymore. It's like I'm there. Like I got to stay strong for the people that love me, the people that believe in me, my parents and that, you know. It's like I can't just fucking break down here and, you know, it's going to send them even more wild. So it's like I just got to hold my shit together, just let them know it's all okay and that I'm going to be home soon. Like the most I can do to lessen the stress for them was like what I was all about, you know. It was like just try to get in contact, call them, tell them everything's okay. Despite how hectic it actually was.
What do you think the most hectic thing about it was?
Fuck, man. That's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe the fear of the unknown, man. Like the anxiety that it was causing and the stress of like, just as soon as I would wake up, it was just that gut sinking feeling that would just hit me, and just like the whole day was just trying to keep myself busy and occupied to get away from that feeling, you know. So yeah, the most hectic part, I mean, besides like the mental side of it all and the like feeling of being trapped, I think that was the biggest thing, was like the feeling of being trapped. And not even when I was locked up, but even when I was out on bail. Yeah, I'm out the beach, yeah, I'm this and that, but I'm not enjoying a single part of it, because you got this overwhelming, like, you got this darkness weighing over me of like, what is even happening right now, you know? Like, am I going to be here? Am I going to be here? Like, is this ever going to end, you know? Like, it was just that fear of the uncertainty was like, it was super tough to deal with. But then also like going to court and being told I was free to go and calling parents saying book a flight, you know, it's all good and then getting locked back up again. It was like, oh man, it was like, this is never going to end, you know? It was just like, just being fucking pinballed around this place and just being put in this hole, put in this hole, put in this hole. It was like, man, to what end, you know? Like,
Have you learned that is what they typically do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And just what I learned was that over there, like, you don't know nothing, and you can. It doesn't matter. Like they just make shit up as they're going over there, you know. So I don't know. It was super scary. It was like I definitely won't be ever going back, but at the same time, like, man, I feel like it could, after seeing that side of it and how easily they can just be like, boom, you're ours now, basically, like, get money out of you and this and that, extort you. I feel like even if, like, going back, you could just walk through the airport and they just grab you and then just be like, oh, he spat on us, so we're going to take him with us now and lock him up here and this and that. And it's like, I didn't spit on you. There's no proof. There's no proof that you did or didn't. So it's like, after seeing that side of it, that's how, like, how fragile freedom is over there, you know? Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Sorry, I was asked, is there a part of you that's, sort of glad it happened?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to an extent, for sure. Like, it was the detox that I needed from, you know, after the breakup, and that fucked my head up, and I was just smashing way too many Valium, smoking copious amounts of weed, but I'd do that anyway. Super glad it happened. Like, well, not super glad it happened because it absolutely rolled me, like, mentally, financially, you know, all up with losing 5 weeks of work as well as being stuck there, like, with the fines, with the hotels, with the food, with just living there for 5 weeks. Probably cost me, like 60 grand round trip, you know, and it was money that I really did not need to spend or want to spend, but I had no choice. So as much, it was a lot of good things about it. There was, like, I'm always one to, like, look for the positive in every negative situation, because there is always something. There's always something positive to look at. There's always a lesson. There's always something to be taught. And at the end of the day, you know, like, it could have been worse. You know, everyone was saying, "Oh, you're just unlucky. And I was like, no, I see it as lucky. Like I was saying before, I was like, I could have been somewhere that was more expensive. I could have been somewhere that was, like, shit weather, that weed wasn't legal, you know. It's like, that all helped me get through it. And I was like, plus I got to have a week's one-on-one holiday with my mum, you know. I was like, that was super dope. I took her out for dinner, you know, bought her a rose, and then, like, have a few drinks and stuff, you know. It was super special, the time I got to spend with my mum there. So there was a lot of good things about it, but it just dragged on. But I also left with a sense of pride as well, you know, like, in the most, like, darkest situation, I still, like, rised up and was able to be that person and help people as well, man. You know, in a situation where it's like I'm the one needs saving, I'm still trying to look after people, you know, which is what I've always done, man. I'm a natural born leader. I have been since I was a kid. It's just who I am as a person, and I think I left there with a sense of pride in the fact that I, like, reassured and made myself realize that I am that person, man. I am that guy that I always knew I am, you know. So I've had a lot of past experiences that have proved that as well. I was like, but there's one thing that just cemented it, you know. So
you mentioned the dark point. Is there something that stands out?
The darkest point, man, was probably, I mean, there was a few heavy moments, man, like mum leaving and seeing how upset she was, because she's super strong. She's little, she's cute, you know, but she's very staunch on the inside, man. So she held it together really well. But seeing her that upset when she jumped in the taxi to go to the airport, that was super tough.
Why?
I just hate to see my mum that upset because of me, you know. I'm like, I'm supposed to be the one that's looking after them,
that's
man.
That's why I asked it. Was it because you brought it back on yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the one that's giving them the best life, you know. Like, I'm supposed to be the one that's come up, making money, killing it, doing well, you know. I'm supposed to be looking after them, not causing them all this stress and causing them money, you know, making them lose money by having to pay for flights and stay over there and this and that, you know. So that was really heavy. I sat out the front of that hotel for a good hour or two, just fucking upset and pissed off with myself and that, you know. But as she was getting in the taxi, you know, I was like, Mum, I've got this. I was like, if anyone can do this, I was like, I can do this, you know. I was like, don't stress. Don't let it beat you up. Rah, I got this. I'll be home soon, you know. Thanks for coming.
You were strong there, but as soon as she left,
As soon as she left, I broke down straight up.
Told her
that? I don't think so. But, I mean, the whole story, like, there's so much to it. And even now, I feel like there's, like, parts that I'm, like, not recalling. But it's just, like, the whole thing was just absolutely insane. And it's been since January now. So a lot's gone on. But, like, it's burnt into my brain. And it still hadn't ended, bro, even at this point. So, like, you know, I get home. I fly in, coming into Melbourne. And for whatever reason, we came from the other side of the airport, and I'm like, sitting at the window seat, and I'm looking out, and it's like, we're coming down, and I'm like, this isn't my Melbourne, man. You know, like, it was that much of a mental battle that I felt like I'd, like, slipped into an alternate reality, man, you know? And I'm like, this isn't the Melbourne that I know. I'm like, where are we landing right now, you know? Like, my head was that, like, gone, that it was, like, thinking that was legit, you know? So we land, I get off the plane, and it's like, everything looks the same, and, like, I walk out of the gates and I'm expected to be like greeted by my parents, you know, and I'm like, I walk out and they're not there, and they're like, I call mum and she's like, we're right here, and I'm like, where, you know, like, boom, someone moves and they're right there, you know, and I was like, fuck, man, like.
Well, so you thought you were different?
I didn't know where I was. I was like this, like, it was like, felt like an alternate reality Melbourne, you know. So it was just mental, bro. And then it was like, then it still wasn't over, you know. I got my passports back, this and that. So then it was about a month or two had gone past, and I'm just super, super happy to be back. Like, absolutely stoked to be back. Appreciate everything, man. Just having a chair to sit on, having a shower, like every little thing, man. Just like pillows, my bed, sitting at home with my cats and that, you know. I was like, this is life, you know. This is luxury. Anyway, one day I started getting a bit of like weird sort of pain in my ears, like a bit of like, felt my head was a bit blocked up, and then one night I remember like holding my nose and sort of blowing my ears out because I was like, feel like I needed to like clear out my head, you know. And then the next day I wake up in absolute agony, and I was like, what the fuck is going on now, you know? And just one thing after the other. So I go to work. I had something on that day. We actually had, I don't know if you know Tech Nine, like American rapper. He's done songs with like Eminem, Tupac, everyone. We actually had him at the studio that weekend. He was over here for a concert, for a show, and I tattooed King ISO, who's on his crew, Strange Music, a couple years before that. So when they were coming back over this time, they'd hit me up again to come get tattooed at the studio. So we had Tech Nine and that there, and his boys, you know. So I'm like, of course this has to happen on this day. I was like, but I'm not gonna miss out on this, you know. So I pushed through the pain, went to his show that night, absolute agony. So I just smashed a few tequila shots and stuff, trying to like numb the pain. And anyway, I wake up the next day in like insane pain, you know. So I was like, I got to go to the hospital. Anyway, I get to the hospital and they take me through emergency, and it just was getting like progressively worse and worse and worse. And like, I don't know what the fuck, well, I mean, I ended up finding out what it was, but I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on now? You know, like Dad's came and sat with me, and I'm like starting to feel like I'm losing it, like not mentally, but like my body and everything. I was like, it was probably the closest I've felt like to this is actually killing me, you know. My head felt like it was in a vice. Like the pain was just excruciating, and they couldn't work out what it is. They kept coming in and asking me questions and stuff like this, and they're like, have you been around like dirty water or anything like this? And I'm like, oh, man, it's got to be from Thailand. They're like, have you got any mozzie bites or whatever, you know? And that's another thing from that. So the first one with the mozzies, bro, I must have had about 1,000 mozzie bites. I got photos on my phone from when I finally got out. Mum took a few photos, and I'm absolutely covered. Like I got eaten alive by mozzies. So when they started saying dirty water or insect bites or anything like that, I'm like, oh man, it's got to be from Thailand. So I told him the story. I told him the brief story.
Not the one you told today.
Not the one I've told today. Definitely not. Dad starts getting into it, and I'm like, Dad, they don't need to know the whole story, right? Like, it's pay $18,000 to get out of jail. I was like, stop. Just tell him I was in Thailand in dirty water.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like, and Dad's got a few like few things going on, like rheumatoid arthritis and stuff. So he's on a few like heavy painkillers and that. So he brought a bunch in because they're like, nothing was working, man. Like I'm in agony and they're giving me like 2 oxys, 2 endos or 2 Panadol, whatever. And it's taken the edge off for like 20 minutes until like, bang, it come back. And they're like, oh, another 3 or 4 hours till you can have more. So dad's slipping me some, you know, and then I'm like absolutely in agony. I'm sitting up and I'm like, fuck, and I just can't. I'm like, oh man, it was just like put me to sleep. I just wanted to go out. I was like, the pain was incredible, you know. And then dad gets up and he's like, what the like someone, you know, do something, you know. And they come over with a big jab of a big syringe full of fentanyl. And they're like, fentanyl is like 100 times stronger than oxys. So they're like, lay back, we'll hit you in the stomach with this, give it about 5-10 minutes and it will fucking take away the pain. And I'm like, mad. Bang in the guts, put it all in. And I'm like, thankfully, finally, you know. So I'm sitting there, 10, 20 minutes go past, nothing's happening. Then my mum was talking to my cousin who's a nurse and she's like, fentanyl won't do nothing to him because he smokes weed. Apparently liquid fentanyl doesn't affect people that smoke weed. So I'm like, of course, the one thing that's supposed to help won't affect me, you know? So I'm like, fuck. And then this ear doctor comes over, this ENT, like ear, nose, throat doctor. She comes in and she's like, look, she's like, the painkillers anyway are just a Band-Aid of things. She's like, it's not until we find out what it is that we can give you specific antibiotics, right? So she comes in with a IV drip with broad spectrum antibiotics and it helped a little bit, you know, but it was like until they knew what it was, they couldn't give me the right antibiotics, you know. So I'm on these drips, I'm like taking painkillers and I'm just sitting there and I'm like fucking dying, man. Like literally felt like I was dying. I had to get up to go to the toilet and I looked in the mirror and I was like a ghost, man. My eyes were black, my face was white. My mum come in and she looked at me and she ran out crying, man. Like they didn't tell me until after. But yeah, it was fucking insane, bro. So once they like dialed it in, they gave me a specific antibiotic and literally halfway through that IV, I kind of like sat up and I was like, whoa, man, like instantly started feeling better, you know? But this is like their specific antibiotics, the strongest shit they got, rah. So then I was in there for a couple of days doing these IV drips every 4 or 6 hours. And I woke up one night and I was like, I felt it coming back, you know. For 3 days, it was like a battle between the antibiotics and the bacterial infection, whatever it was, because they were trying to find out whether it was like bacterial or whatever it was, you know. So I'm talking to these infectious disease teams of doctors. Everyone's running tests on me. I'm like a human pincushion, man, like dots and shit everywhere, things hanging out of my arm. And they just couldn't work out what was happening and why it was in both ears and this and that, because it ended up being streptococcus pneumoniae or something like that, which is super rare to have in both ears. I was like, of course it happens to me in both ears, but I knew because that night I was sitting there kind of blowing out. They said it can lay dormant in your sinuses, and from me blowing out into my ears, it's gone there and it's activated. So yeah, I'm laying there and I wake up one night in agony again, and I'm like, I felt about like 50-50, even less, like 70-30 towards the bacterial infection taking back over. And I'm laying there and I'm looking around. I'm like, man, if this is the strongest shit they've got, I was like, it's on me now to like mentally like take control of my body, man, you know? So I laid back and I was like, as corny as it sounds, I laid back and I imagined like my little immune system like running through my body, like buck and bang, like hitting the bacteria and shit, you know, like fighting it, you know, like trying to fight it mentally as best I could. And I shit you not, like I woke up that next morning feeling like 60-40 towards me, you know, 70-30 towards me. And I was like, fuck yeah, like it was a massive moment of like accomplishment, you know, feeling like, all right, I got this, you know. So another couple of days in there and then finally let me out. But yeah, it was a week in there. And then I was on 1,000 milligram antibiotics for like a month after that, 4 weeks, just to like knock it on the head. And yeah, man, that was super scary. So what I had could turn into meningitis very quickly. So it started spreading from my ears to my skull, through my jaw. It got to a point where I was like, I couldn't even really close my jaw, man. Like it was like like this, you know. And it was like super scary because like meningitis obviously attacks your brain, attacks your eyes. Like I could have gone blind and this and that. So without like that ENT doctor, like bless her, you know, she saved my life literally. Super grateful for the Northern Hospital, man. They did a lot to help.
Seem to get emotional when your mum comes up.
Yeah, she's special, man. Real emotional because even when I got back, you know, Dad, we had dinner and I was just convincing her and probably trying to convince myself that I was okay, you know, but I couldn't let them see that I wasn't at any point. Dad calls me the next day and he's like, mate, he's like, I don't know what you can do. He's like, but you have to convince your mum that you're okay. And I'm like, why? Because she was just not convinced. She was like telling me, she's like, you need to go to therapy, you need to do this, you know, like, all right. And but I could see how much it was affecting her. And like the next time I'm like, fuck, I think maybe she needs to go to therapy, you know. It's like she's actually copping this. And that was what was bothering me more.
She said that this morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, I feel like, look how much stress I'm causing her, you know. And that was what hit me the most, was like how much it bothered my mum. I know Dad copped it hard as well, but you know, Mum, she acts tough and that, but like it really got to her and how much it has affected her even still. Even the other day she was saying how much every single day something comes up and she thinks what we could have done differently. Like what could I have done here? Should we have trusted this person? Should we have done this? Should we have done that? And I'm like, Mum, it's done. It's all done. I'm back. We're safe. No amount of worrying is going to change the past, right? So there's no point. Just let it go. We might have made mistakes, whatever, but we did what we had to do in the time when we didn't know what the fuck to do, right? So don't stress. We're here now. It's all good, you know? So seeing how much it's really affected her, that was what affected me a lot. And what I think every time I think about it, that hits me because I'm like, I hate that I've caused her that kind of stress and heartache, you know.
What do you think your old man would have seen in you to make you say that you weren't okay?
I don't think he was like, I know you're okay, mate. I know you. And he's like, you actually done better than I would have ever imagined you would, you know. He's like, better than I would, this and that. He's like, I know you're all right. He's like, but your mum's not convinced.
But she was right.
Well, she was right in a way, but like I wasn't. It was so fresh still. I just got back, you know, so I'm like still trying to process it all. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what can I say to him? And he's like, I don't know. You just got to fucking make it known that you're okay, you know. So next time we caught up for dinner, I just had to like fucking be super bubbly and just try to let her know that it's all good. It's all good. I got this. Like, as I say, like even when I'm not okay, I'm okay because I can handle it, you know. I've been through so much before. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, it is what it is. I can always find like the way out of a fucking shit situation, right? And I've always been that motherfucker. I'm like problem solver, you know, it's just what I do. So I'm like, it's all right, you know, I've got this even when I'm not okay. So
do you think you're okay from it?
From this now? I think I'm okay now. Like I said, going back to Perth was a massive thing for me. I didn't realise how much I was still in fight or flight because of the hospital after, because of coming back with being extorted so much, you know, like I never really stressed about the shop too much with like, it's a quiet time in the industry this last year or two. So with like having the backing with the money that I had there, which was now taken away from Thailand, you know, so it was like everything became so much more stressful when I got back. So I'm like, the fight or flight just didn't release until I went to Perth recently. So, that was a big thing that I didn't really realize how badly I actually needed it. So I've had my moments with my friends telling them stories and telling them this and that, you know, so I've had a long enough time to get it all out now and that. But definitely feel okay now. But not much better than I thought I was. You know, I thought I was okay before Perth, and then now after going to Perth, having that fight or flight release, it was like, fuck, man, that was a huge thing. But it was like, that's why I'm like ready. I was super ready to do this podcast now. It was emotional. It was emotional when I got back because it was like, I don't know, it was, I think after feeling so like trapped and unsafe and then going home and then being so like comfortable and safe, it was like, fuck, man, what am I doing? I got back here and I was like, what am I doing over here still, you know? I was like, yeah, my parents and my brother's here, but I don't know, it was a massive thing. And then I was like, nah, but it wouldn't be the same if I go back, you know? It was like, it was just a massive thing. There was like the whole week of just like fucking overthinking it all and just thinking, man.
Do you think you'll struggle to trust, not people, but it sounds like that thing about, you know, the fact that you were on the plane and you were even questioning when you were in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think so, man.
Around, just like, trusting people.
Yeah, for sure. And I've always been, I mean, I haven't been like the most trustworthy person at the best of times to people, but for reasons, you know. But since then, it was just like, man, what is reality, you know? And it was a massive thing of like believing in like manifestation and like everything's working on frequencies and that. And it's like the more negative I think, the more negative things are going to happen. So it was like sitting there being like, all right, stop thinking this way because you're going to cause it to happen to yourself by being so negative, you know? So I'm like trying to snap myself out of it and having this mental battle of like, no, stop thinking that way. Start thinking positive because you don't want to manifest more negative shit, you know? And I'm like, this all came apart because I was so down and out from my ex leaving. I was beating myself up so much about that I feel like I'd caused all of this by being so negative and my head and my frequency was just all off, you know? So I felt like this all came apart of being that way, you know? So trying to like breathe through it and snap myself out of like a negative thoughts so that I wasn't manifesting more negative shit. It was like, that was a massive thing. That was a massive challenge while I was over there was that, yeah, just trying to fully take control, you know?
I heard you took it pretty hard when you broke up with your ex.
Yeah, that was heavy. Yeah, it was brutal.
Why?
It was over fuck all.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it wasn't fuck all, but it was something that a lot to her. But yeah, we went back to Perth previously for the boxing and something happened and she just upped and left in the middle of the night, flew back to Melbourne. I just woke up to my mate's wife waking me up just saying she's bounced, she's gone, you know. And I'm like, fuck, man. Just went to sleep happiest I've ever been, woke up fucking saddest I've ever been, you know. It was a crazy thing. It was a super heavy shock to the system. But that as well, you know, learn a lot from that. But that's also fucked everything as well, you know. Now I'm just like, another thing is like, I mean, I gave my whole self up to her, you know, like I was so open and so loving and caring as I am, but more so with her, it was like proper in love, you know. And now I don't think I'll ever be that way with a woman again because of it, because I feel like I knew what happened, but at the same time it didn't make sense. So I'm like, is there more to it? So you start overthinking like, was I too nice? Did I treat her too nice? You know, it's like, what else was it, you know? So that fucks with your head up. So it's like, now it's like, I loved her, but I showed her I loved her. Next time it's going to be like, I love her, but I love her and I'm scared to lose her. So I'm not going to show her how much I love her, you know? And that was like, that's another thing. So it's like, I don't know, it's all lessons, I guess. But at the same time, it's just when it rains, it pours, I guess.
What's it like being alone? With your own thoughts. I'm in a bit of not a weird spot, but it's like I'm isolated a lot. And I overthink a lot.
I'm the same, man. Very much isolated and very much an overthinker. Having my cats, man, definitely helps. You know, Loki and Freya, my little Bengals. Loki's like my little best mate, man. He's like a little puppy, you know. He just follows me everywhere, talks to me, you know. He's like responds when I talk to him and that, you know. It's like got the best little relationship going. So it makes living and being alone not so hard with them, but it does get lonely sometimes. But I really do enjoy my own company. You know, I smoke a lot, so I live out north near some like reservoirs and all that. So Sundays I'll go roll up a few joints, go for a drive, go sit at the reservoir, have a smoke and overlook the water. Yan Yan Reservoir. Yeah. It's beautiful out there, man. I discovered it through lockdown when I was just driving around, just trying to just kill some time in that. And I was like, whoa, man, this is the coolest shit ever. You know, you come up around that hill and then you just opens up to all this water and stuff. You're like, fuck. So I go there if I'm ever like need to think about things, or if I'm overthinking things, you know, go there and just have get a bit of mental clarity by being out in nature and stuff. Super important to get my like nature fix, man. You know, I'm all about that. I love going on adventures, and it's so good for the soul, especially when you live a stressful life and you do a lot during the week. It's like, it's super important to have those outlets that you can just go, just sort of think and just work everything out, I guess, to an extent.
You hopeful of the future?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's been a big thing with all this situation, is like the timeline with me and my ex was perfect. You know, my mates all having kids, getting married, her mates having kids and getting married. It was like the timing was just perfect, you know. And then I felt like I fucked my timeline with that. And then with Thailand, I fucking got extorted for nearly everything. And I was like, come back, and I'm like, what the fuck now, man? You know, and I was like, I've done it. I've fucked it. I've completely fucked my life, you know. And that's what I felt. From a 5-day trip to clear my mind and get my head right from a breakup, turned into this fucking absolute mess that has cost me so much more than anything I could ever imagine, you know, like. And I come back to just work my absolute ass off just to, you know, pay rent and get the shop back on top of things. And then it was just like hospital. And then a couple months after that, it was like, mum's like, no more now. You know, a couple months after that, I was back in hospital for like lungs, man, like a hectic. They said I was on the verge of a severe asthma attack. And it was whack, bro. And I was like, they couldn't find the cause of that either. And they said it could be from your body still recovering from the other bacterial infection, you know, that just seeped into your lungs or whatever. And it was just like, man, it was just, this was all the first 6 months of this year. And it was like, there's just one thing after the other, you know? So kind of just like tread lightly now, just like enjoy the days that we're not in hospital.
Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose our own way.
For sure.
You know where that comes from?
Where's that?
That's the book you told me about, so you can have long and happy life.
Yeah, Ikigai. Yeah, man.
I found that in there.
Yeah, it's really good. Hey, I just started rereading it. I read it a long time ago, but yeah, I just started rereading it. But really good book. I've referred it to a few people as well, people that just feel a little bit lost in that, you know. And it's all about the blue zones, you know, where people that have the most centenarians and super centenarians, which is like 100 and 110 year old people, you know. And there's the 5 blue zones. These 3 of them are actually islands. Okinawa is the one in Japan. And it just talks about how like they have the Ikigai is the sense of purpose, like what you enjoy doing, what you are good at, what can make you money, and what gives you purpose or whatever, you know. It's like all these things combined is your Ikigai, you know. So
do you feel lost?
Feel lost? Not really lost. I feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, what I thought I was doing and what I had planned feels like it's getting to a point where it's like it's got to go in a new direction now, you know. So I'm kind of like not lost in the sense, maybe like reworded as like refining my thing, my shit, you know. So still super happy doing what I'm doing, man. Like I tattoo, I'm still busy, thankfully. Like not as busy as I was because it's a pretty quiet time, but I'm still busy enough to keep everything alive at the moment for now. So I'm super grateful for that. And but yeah, I just know it's coming to a time where it's like, all right, this isn't working at the moment. So and I mean, as we were saying, like something good always comes from hectic situations. So like maybe just not, maybe knowing I don't have this backing now with the money and stuff like that, and I mean still make a killing, so I can still support myself, you know. But it's like maybe this is going to lead to making a big change that wouldn't have happened if that didn't happen, you know. So always got to try to look at it in a positive light. Otherwise you're just going to go mad thinking about it all. But yeah, super just at a point where I'm just like, all right, I'm just doing what I have to do at the moment, you know. And that's not what I'm it's not what I'm here to do, you know. It's like I want to be doing more, and I want to be able to do this and this and this, and like help people here and this and that. I still got still looking after people, still got a few apprentices and that, and like always taking my time out to do as much as I can for everyone around me and that. But at the point where I'm like, all right, some changes are coming for sure. Not quite sure exactly what, but for the better, of course. So,
what's the biggest lesson out of everything, do you think?
The biggest lesson, I don't know. One of the biggest things I took from it was that, like, I feel like I've always felt like I've got a good purpose. Like, there's something, I'm definitely here to be doing something more, you know. So I felt like this Thailand experience was a little way of the universe just being like, hey, you're fucking slipping off track here. You're meant for more. So this is happening for you to pull your head in so you can get back on track and keep going on the direction that you're supposed to be going. Keep walking the path you're meant to be walking, you know.
Do you know what it is yet? You don't?
I don't know what it is yet, nah.
Is it tattooing?
I don't think it's tattooing.
Yeah.
I think I've been tattooing since I was 17. Always going to be tattooing. I think whether I tattoo once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever on top of everything else, but I don't think tattooing is going to lead me to where I want to be, you know. So I guess we'll just see, you know. I'm just like got a few things going now with the boys and like investments and stuff. So hopefully we get a few decent payouts there and can start to put other pieces into play and start getting things going, you know, because obviously wanted to be in a way different position by this age, but obviously setbacks and life gets in the way. So, but it is what it is.
Is
and
that hard?
I accept it all. It is, but you know what? Like, it's supposed to be hard, man. You know, if it's not hard, then it's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
I embrace the hard times, man. If I'm sitting there comfortable, I feel like I'm not doing anything, you know. Yeah.
I had someone say to me the other day, you need to be scared.
You do. You need to be scared. Like I think I said to you on the phone, like you need to be walking around with that pebble in your shoe, bro. You need to have that uncomfortability all the time. And it's like, I can't remember where I heard that. Might have been another podcast somewhere else, but it resonated so much. And it's like, man, there's always something, you know, and that's what that pebble in the shoe is. It's always a little bit of something uncomfortableness, you know, and it's super important to have that as a man, as someone who's doing things, you know, because if you're not stressed, if you're not failing, then you're not trying, you're not doing anything, you know. So failure and stress is just a sign of you actually making an effort to do something, to be something. And
when you find that thing, it's so easy to go the extra mile.
Yeah, it is. It really is, man. It's super easy.
Even though it's hard at the time. Like I'm in the position now where I'm like figuring things out.
For sure.
But I'm doing whatever it takes.
Exactly. And man, it's always the way is like they say, it's like people always give up just before it's a breakthrough, you know. And I had recently with one of my good mates' little brother, he was doing a course, and I was always like real supportive of him and helping him through it and stuff. And then he hit me up and he was like, man, you know, he's like, it's getting super hard, man, you know, like, and I was like, listen, it always gets and feels the hardest when you're about to have a breakthrough, you know? So I was like, I don't want to hear back from you until you message me saying you just completed it and you're done and this and that, you know? And that's it. Yeah, a couple of weeks later, he messaged me and he's like, bro, you were right. He's like, thank you so much, man. He's like, I'm so happy that I pushed through and didn't give up and this and that, you know? So I'm all for that, man. I love that. So when it's getting hard, I'm like, great. It means we're making progress. You know, if it's not hard, then I'm just I'm at the beginning still, you know? It's like when it's hard, it's like that's when you're about to evolve, you know? Then it's going to get a bit easier here, then it's going to get harder again. It's just the way it works, you know? Moving up the ladder, it's the way it is.
I compare myself to a lot of my friends my age, and I don't feel behind, even though sometimes I do. Because
sure.
A lot of them have kids, a lot of them are settled down. But I don't. I feel like what you have. I feel that there's something more out there, and no one. I can't do what I want to do with a normal, like a normal life.
Exactly. I just wouldn't be satisfied, man. Would not be satisfied if I was just working a 9 to 5, working for someone else. It's just not who I am.
You're trying to prove it to someone, or yourself, or
more myself, and just like, you know, I grew up as a bit of a little shit, you know. So
you said something interesting. Sorry to cut you off. You said just the way I look as well.
Yeah. So a lot of like discrimination because of the face tattoos and stuff like that, you know, with like a lot of the times with like not getting into places or just getting looked at differently or treated differently because of it, you know. And I'm like, man, little do you know, like I got a heart of gold, you know, like I'm someone that you would want to be talking to, you know, like. So I've copped a lot of shit not copped a lot of shit, but just like had that happen throughout life. But at the same time, like if I'm going to be treated that way in a certain place, then that's not a place for me anyway. So, you know, it's like I didn't get them to worry about what people think, you know. So, but yeah, it's still been a big factor, and it does suck sometimes, especially when you're doing things with the right intention and you're just being like labelled this or, you know, treated a certain way because of it, you know. It's like, man, come on. Gets to the point where you're like, bro, it's just my skin, man. It's like, you know, you're going to treat anyone else differently because of their skin? No, it's like, fuck. Even though it's not like that, but still it feels like that.
Is there anything we haven't spoken about today that you want to touch on? Sounds like, mate, we could keep going.
Oh, we could just keep going, man, but not as in the time.
2.5 hours.
It has been 2.5 already. Fuck. I mean, I think I've covered most things from Thailand, man. Like I was laying in bed last night thinking, man, just thinking about everything, and a few things would pop it back into my head, and I'm like, I got to remember to say that. But when you're in the midst of it, it's like, all right, what else? But no, I think we've covered most of it, man. I think we've covered most of it.
You proud of yourself?
Yeah, definitely proud of myself, man. Super tight, close family. Super proud that my parents are proud, you know. That was a big thing for me, especially with growing up, you know. My parents had a lot of people saying, oh, you're raising them wrong, you know, because you just let me and my brother sort of go, let us spread our wings and that, you know, and we'd get into trouble and this and that. But whatever, like, we still had such a like tight bond and such a close and such a high respect for our parents that it's like nothing came between that, you know. So it's like being able to give them bragging rights over the people that were trying to bag them, saying they're doing it wrong, to now being like, look at my son now, you know, like giving them that bragging right was super, super important for me, you know. So I'm really proud of myself for that aspect, and that's why I think Thailand hit me so heavily, and the stress it's caused my parents, because I'm like, that's not supposed to be who I am, you know. It's like I'm not supposed to be doing this to my parents. I'm supposed to be making them super proud. And I mean, they are super proud still. And even through this, you know, it just would have showed them how resilient they've raised their son to be, you know. At the end of the day, it's all come from them, you know. Like dad's super wise. I always quote my dad's advice, and mum's just super staunch, super strong. Love them to death, both of them, you know. So super blessed, and I think that's honestly one of my main drives for what I do, you know. It's like I have a vision that I'm going to never settle until I'm living it, which is I just want a house out in the country overlooking some hills, man, and just kick back, bro, like, and just be like, we've made it, you know. Just be not stressing, you know. And at the same time buy them a house, have that paid off, even if it's on my land, you know. They can come up for dinner and stuff, you know. It's like that's my goal, man. Is like don't want them to stress about nothing, you know. So,
you know Alex Hormozy?
Who?
Alex Hormozy.
Alex Hormozy.
He sold like $150 million worth of books in 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Recently.
Yeah, right.
And he ran a gym.
Yeah.
And
Alex Hormozy.
Yeah, he's a beast. You might recognize him.
Yeah,
and he ran a
probably
gym,
recognize
and he
his
opened
face.
a gym, and there was a guy that worked for him, and the guy that worked for him basically took a step back.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to go to the next step. And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, why? It's so much more money.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't understand it. 10 years later, Alex has gone on to do crazy things, and he met the same guy.
Yeah.
He's in the same position.
Oh, really?
And
10 years later?
And Alex is like, or the guy was like, you've done so much. You've done so much. And Alex looked at him and goes, you've won, man.
Yeah.
You're happy.
Yeah.
Where you are.
Yeah.
He's like, we're pushing and we're constantly striving, and
yeah.
we're just never going to.
Never happy. For sure.
He said something crazy the other day. And that goes in what you were saying before, but he said, he got asked on a podcast, what if there's one thing you'd want for universal law, what do you think it'd be?
Mm-hmm.
And he said for everyone's wealth to be diminished at the end of their life.
Yeah. Diminished.
Like gone.
Yeah, for sure.
No wealth.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah.
Just shows. And that's what you said before. Grave. Like you don't need, you're just chasing the freedom, I guess.
Exactly. The freedom, man. Yeah. And that's it. Like I was actually, I was watching something earlier today, actually, with Nipsey, man. I love listening to Nipsey talk. Mm. And he was talking about how, what was he saying? It was like, everyone worries about like, at the end, like what you can get out of life, you know, while you're here sort of thing. And he's like, I realized that it's like, it's not about that. It's like realizing and accepting the fact that it all does come to an end eventually. And it's about like, did you give your all? Like, did you empty your whole self here? Like, you know, like you don't want to pass on knowing that you had so much more in the tank to give. You know, it's like the main thing is like, how much did you give and did you give your all, you know? It's like, that's super important to know. It's like, yeah, we're living this stressful life, but at the same time, we're doing it, man. We're putting our whole hearts out there, all of our whole selves out there to make something of ourselves, you know, despite how stressful it is. I wouldn't be satisfied to die knowing that I didn't try my best, you know. So
I heard someone say their biggest fear is meeting the person they could have become.
Yeah, man. And that's exactly right, bro. And even that, like, Goggins talks about that, and he's like, he believes in like the end of the day, you know, you get to the, you know, you go see the higher power once we pass, and there's like that list, and there's a picture of you, and it's like, you could have been that, you know. And I'm now looking at you here, and he's like, I want to be the one that's like, yeah, I'm that, but I'm like, I'm more. And he's like, you get there, and he's like, I see everything, but I didn't see that. And you get there even better than where you're supposed to be on the board, you know. And like, that's super important for me. It's like knowing that I've like emptied myself here, you know, and left everything behind. So that's super important.
I want to commend you, man. Been a pretty, I reckon there's obviously a lot to that story. And I appreciate you taking time to
for sure.
tell me the story today.
No worries at all, man. I appreciate you listening and having me on.
Of course, man.
Means a lot to finally
get it
all out there. And I mean, as a warning to people as well, man, because I know a lot of people go to Thailand. A lot of people buy Valium at the pharmacies and stuff, and no one thinks of what can potentially happen. No one even knows that it's classed as a stage 4 narcotic. Everyone just thinks it's legal. So, you know, so it's like I wanted to get it out as like a warning to people as well. Like go on there, it's like, yeah, it might not happen, potentially won't happen, but it can happen, you know. These things do happen.
How do you want your story of what you've overcome to inspire others?
Just to show that like whatever we go through, like, you know, it all comes down to mindset, and that there's nothing that you can't overcome, you know, and everything, it's all about you. Like not everything is your fault, but everything is your responsibility on how you handle it, right? So you can look at it from a victim's perspective, or you can look at it from a like, right, what is this teaching me? This test is a blessing, you know. Everything that's coming at me now is like, there's so much I can learn from this, whether it's what to do or what not to do. There's always something to learn, and like keeping that mentality throughout anything, because from experience, like good things do come from terrible situations, you know. So you just got to hold on and be like, all right, the fact I'm going through something terrible right now tells me that something better's coming. So you can look at it in that perspective, being like, all right, it's shit now, but it's not going to be forever, you know? So
we've spoken a few times to your mum today. So we had a bit of a technical difficulty there. So we're going to do this again. And it's a similar time frame.
Yeah, perfect.
Similar time frame.
I told you she'd spit it out exactly how she did it the first time, for sure.
Hi, it's Angie, Ben's mum. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Ben. In my opinion, he's a loving, caring and good-hearted boy. He'd do anything for anyone. And when he loves you with all his heart. He's a very emotional boy, and he's not embarrassed to show his feelings and have a good cry sometimes. But at the same time, he's very strong, determined and independent. He's built Oculus Tattoo up from scratch to what it is today, and he's got a very good business there, thriving and very popular. But he's been through a lot in the last few years. He's had a lot of trauma in his life and a lot of drama that most people wouldn't have been able to deal with. And for some people, I'm sure they wouldn't have come through it as well as Ben has. But in Ben's opinion, it just makes him stronger and more determined to do well and look on the bright side of life, basically. And for us, we really love Ben. We love him with all our heart, and we do anything for him. We've recently moved over to Melbourne so we can be closer to Ben and be here for him when he needs us, and Matthew, of course. But, you know, we would always drop anything for Ben if he needs us, so we're only a phone call away. There's been times this year when he's really needed us, and one incident with the Thailand, he rang me on the Saturday and let me know what happened. I was on a plane the next day in Thailand and ready to help him and bail him out. And also he's had a few health problems this year. My husband and I have sat at the bedside with him in the hospital day and night with him, you know, when he's been in hospital until he got better and well enough to come home. We always look after him. We do anything we can to help. We're always there for him, whether it's, you know, cleaning his house or rescuing him from some situation. We'll always be there for him and we'll always love him. Thank you.
Yeah, they're the best. Yeah, absolute sweetheart, man. Both my parents, absolute best. Super grateful. Yeah, no, they're the best, man. Super blessed and super lucky to have them in my life. Yeah, there's not a day goes by. I mean, like I said before, I always was one to express my gratitude, you know, and what helped me get through a lot of like other heavy things that I have been through has been like meditating every morning, getting up in the shower and just like saying like 5 things that I am grateful for, you know, and they're always included in those like those expressions of gratitude every morning, you know, that sort of shit, just reminding yourself how blessed you are just to be waking up that day. I'm standing in a hot shower, I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I'm standing on 2 legs. Like there's so much little things that you can be grateful for in life. As bad as things seem and feel, you know, at the end of the day, my worst day could be someone's dream, you know. So I'm super blessed, you know.
It's a good way to end it, brother.
Yep.
Appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you very much, bro.
Easy, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
all
listening,
good.
bro. Appreciate
So good.
it.
No, of course.
No, all good.
Really good.